shut its doors last year can have their loans forgiven, according to the U.S. Department of Education. On Friday, the U.S. Department of Education said former students from 2010 to 2014 at 91 Everest and Wyotech college campuses in 20 states have a clear path to loan forgiveness under evidence discovered by the department while working with the multiple state attorneys general. Former students must apply through the Department of Education. An estimated 350,000 students took out student loans to finance an education through one of the Corinthian colleges. Joseph A. Smith, the department's special master for borrowers' defense claims, said the department has already approved loan discharges for more than 8,800 former Corinthian students nationwide, totaling more than $130 million. The news from the department comes just days after a California State Superior Court judge issued a $1.1 billion judgment against the college chain. It's unlikely, however, that students will see any money from the school. The school shut its doors in April 2015 and filed bankruptcy a month later. In addition to leaving students in the lurch, officials said the school misrepresented its job placement rates and its affiliation with the U.S. military. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports a federal judge on Friday struck down an Alabama law that required abortion providers to have admitting privileges at local hospitals. The ruling comes amid a wave of new abortion laws in states where conservatives are aiming to chip away at the U.S. Supreme Court's landmark 1973 Roe v. Wade decision that legalized abortion nationwide. U.S. District Judge Myron Thompson in Alabama issued the 53-page ruling, saying the provisions in the state's so-called Women's Health and Safety Act would effectively close the abortion clinics in Alabama's three largest cities, Montgomery, Mobile, and Birmingham. Thompson wrote the staff privileges requirement would make it impossible for a woman to obtain an abortion in much of the state. It is certain that thousands of women per year, approximately 40% of those seeking abortions in the state, would be unduly burdened. Representatives for the Alabama Attorney General's office could not be immediately reached for comment on Friday. Susan Watson, executive director of the American Civil Liberties Union of Alabama, applauded the order. She said in an interview, "This ruling protects Alabama women and ensures access to a safe and legal abortion." She added that similar laws being pushed in other states appeared to be a concerted effort nationwide to scale back abortion rights. A comparable provision to Alabama's was part of a law signed in Florida by Republican Governor Rick Scott on Friday, and the U.S. Supreme Court is considering a challenge to an abortion law in Texas, where several clinics have closed due to new restrictions. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Everyone in a bustling Chinese parade is attempting to elude pursuers. Newly discovered cave paintings suggest early man was battling a lot of inner demons, and a xylophonist is shredding it. This Tuesday, FBI officials disclosed details of a disturbing al-Qaeda plot to just kick back, relax, and savor the inevitable collapse of the United States. Intelligence agencies confirmed the massive coordinated plan involves terrorist cells across the globe, training specifically to take a load off and unwind as America's political infighting, class divides, moral indolence, and environmental self-destruction gradually tear the nation apart.
Our righteous warriors will devote our time to relaxing and really soaking in the infidel self-destruction. America's cities will be reduced to ruins. The economy will come to a standstill. And we, the blessed of Islam, will kick back, put our feet up, and enjoy the show. It's going to be great.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. It's the live Saturday edition. I know you're not used to live programming on the weekends any longer, especially in the evening, but Free Talk Live, we believe that you want, that you deserve live programming. So we're here to deliver it for you.
Here.
It's Mark with you.
And Chris.
And you just give us a call, talk about whatever's on your mind, but I think a pretty big story broke this week, and that is the claim by the National Enquirer that Ted Cruz has a whole bunch of mistresses. Now, I'm not one to just go believe anything that I read at a supermarket tabloid, but
they don't have a bad record.
They don't have a bad record at all. The National Enquirer got Gary Hart, Jesse Jackson, John Edwards. Remember John Edwards? You know, the golden boy of the Democratic Party. He's got great hair. He's a good-looking guy.
Had it all going for him.
He was doing reasonably well, not particularly well in the primary, and then whammo bammo, turns out he's knocking on some lobbyist's door while his wife's got cancer, and it just doesn't look good. You know, I don't know what precisely was going on. I don't propose to know what's in the heart of men or anything like that. I'm just saying, if you're a politician in the United States of America, one of the things you're going to have to do is keep your hands off the ladies. And that's just part of the gig.
It's vetting. I would think anybody running for that level of office would certainly vet themselves, because you know it's going to come out. It has to. I mean, it's just, you're not going to sweep that under the rug. Which is why I'll never run for president.
It's too juicy.
Yeah, and it just can't be avoided. I just don't understand. And maybe that is part of the psychological makeup of somebody who has the chutzpah to believe that they should be the leader of the free world.
Well, I think that it's one of the psychological makeups. There's different ones out there. They're not,
sure.
But there's a certain type of several types of people that are going to make it through everything that it takes. All the butt kissing, all the long hours in planes flying around, the smiling and shaking hands of people you've never met, the being nice to people you hate, everything that it takes, the duplicity, the evasive. All of this stuff that it takes to be a politician, and then not just to be a politician, but the best politician among all the politicians in the world.
Right, and you've got to run for offices knowing that you don't want to be in that office.
Yep.
That's the one that always struck me. It's like, yeah, I'm going to run for Congress, but I really don't want to be a Congress. I really don't want to represent my people. I'm just using it as a stepping stone, and forgive me, I've been watching Game of Cards lately.
Which one? House of Cards or
House
Game
of Cards.
Yes.
Thank you. It's been a really long day.
There's some similarities there. So
I think they are really the same show, and we've just not noticed yet.
So there are different psychological makeups. One of the types of people that would reach the highest office in the land would be somebody who's very, very driven, and somebody who wants to be sort of notoriety, that kind of thing. There's only a few different types of currency in the world. And,
sure.
One of currency is certainly money. Some people want to be really, really wealthy. Some people want power. Some people want recognition. One of the aspects of recognition really is attracting the opposite sex. Now, a lot of people get married who shouldn't. And a lot of times people will make decisions on who to vote for based on if they're married and who they're married to and what's their family life and all this kind of stuff that I don't particularly think is that important. And one of these people that are motivated, they're going to want a lot of accomplishment in the area of the opposite sex, okay?
That is the Bill Clinton profile, if you will,
or in the JFK one.
JFK, absolutely,
might be another one.
Yep.
And the thing I think, if you go back farther in presidents, they didn't report on that stuff as much.
Right
now, it's a big deal, and I don't think you can get into the highest office in the land if you're married and touching the opposite sex. That's just not going to work out for you. You've got to be
really.
What?
Well, I'm just surprised because I think that in many races recently, and even in this race, there is a history of a lot of these candidates that may have been not been completely faithful to their spouses.
Okay. Well, I'm interested in talking about that.
Yeah.
I think there might be a pass for Donald Trump. People just expect him to do whatever the heck he wants.
Right.
And he's certainly gone through a couple of gals. But so let me give the story as it turned out.
Please.
So what happened was, in the Utah race, somebody in the Ted Cruz campaign thought it'd be a good idea to take a shot of Donald Trump's wife, and she's in a state of undress on like a bearskin rug or whatever
with handcuffs.
It was handcuffs. I didn't notice.
Yes, there were handcuffs in the picture.
I didn't see the whole shoot. I just saw one of the.
So I've heard.
Okay. I just saw one of the pictures, and I didn't notice handcuffs in that particular picture. Regardless, it's it's a photo shoot for GQ.
Right.
Big deal. And they thought in the Utah primary, where we've got all these, especially the Republican Utah primary, you've got all these moral voters and that kind of thing. Let's show them a picture of a naked gal and say, "Do you want this for your the new
this
first
is your
lady?"
first lady? Yes. Yeah.
And either that one or whatever, it didn't matter. He won Utah. Cruz won Utah. Well, Trump's mad. There's been a picture of his wife naked in a campaign advertisement. So he says, "I'm going to spill the beans on Ted Cruz's wife."
Right.
All right. And then Ted Cruz acts like he is all put out. Like,
right.
"Hey, homeboy, you just opened up the door." I mean, I'm not going to say Donald Trump is the kind of guy that pulls punches, but he wasn't punching there before you went and did it. Don't act all shocked and my dear, they're going after my wife. I don't believe it.
How dare you?
I do believe I've got the papers.
How dare you, my good sir?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. You stinking, lying piece of filth, you did it first. And then you're going to act like somebody else shouldn't do it to you? You took the gloves off. You smacked your wife in the face. That guy didn't.
And Ted Cruz, this is, I don't know what goes on inside political campaigns. Thank God.
Yeah.
I know what I see reported in the press, and I haven't followed this one too closely because
they relate it to sausage, and sausage is great.
And I love sausage. But Ted Cruz has been kind of the art of the dirty trick this campaign season. He's the one who, I'm trying to think, there was something regarding Ben Carson and a release of, he told everybody that Ben Carson was actually flying back home to drop out of the race.
Oh, was that the one?
That was like in Iowa. But throughout all these different campaigns, at one point or another, have had something that they felt probably came from the Cruz campaign.
Yeah, I guess the people that nail themselves to the cross, I want them to act like Jesus. That's what I want. If you want to act like a politician, please be Caesar.
Right.
Just be Caesar, okay? Don't be Caesar and pretend you're Jesus.
Right.
I don't need that in my life, okay? I mean, that's just it. I find it highly unpalatable. If I'm going to vote for Caesar, I'm happy to vote for Caesar. If I'm going to vote for Jesus, I'm happy to vote for Jesus. I don't want Caesar dressing up like Jesus.
But we don't get that anymore. And I don't know if Americans have ever got that choice in politics, particularly with the presidency, that we ever actually knew the people that we were voting for. I mean, nobody ever came out of my small town and ended up being president or ran for president. I go back to that psychological profile, that makeup, that type of person, whichever path they go down, that they are driven by something. And in the end, it is power. I mean, you are, whether that's your driver or not, that's what you're going to receive.
But wouldn't most people take the position of president of the United States if it was offered to them?
Hell no.
You wouldn't
take
it?
I can only speak for myself.
I would take it.
No
I would
way.
take it. Okay. So your thoughts on these folks and their mud slinging? I mean, we've gone to poop slinging now. Your thoughts, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450 free. That's free as in freedom. Free Talk Live. We also have the Skype lines are open. You can call us on Skype. The username is lrn.fm. And you'll have to send us a request, but it doesn't really take very long at all. And it sounds a bit better. 855-450 free. Free Talk Live. Username lrn.fm on Skype.
At Van Dyke Mortgage, we would like to thank our military veterans. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. For your service to our country, the Veterans Administration or VA loans are available for active, non-active, and retired veterans who meet the established requirements to assist in buying or refinancing a home loan. The most notable features and benefits for those who qualify are 100% financing, no monthly mortgage insurance, a variety of terms or loan types, reduced costs for disabled veterans, and no seller prepayment penalty. At Van Dyke Mortgage, we work hard to be your trusted mortgage advisor and can help analyze your personal situation and give you advice that matters. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com. That's VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
Something shocking just happened in a Coast Guard unit in San Diego. The old guys in the unit have turned the tables and are now destroying the young bucks in head-to-head fitness tests. How is this even possible? Turns out the old guys in this unit have been part of a special test group for a doctor-formulated fountain of youth drink called Patriot Power Greens. Patriot Power Greens has been so effective for many of the older soldiers that it's made their achy joints, stiff muscles, and lack of energy a thing of the past. Previously, this drink was only available to elite military units. But for a limited time, the creator of Patriot Power Greens has set aside a small number of free sample packs specifically for our conservative friends. But you must act fast. Due to the high demand from members of the Coast Guard, our supply is extremely limited right now. To claim your free samples of Patriot Power Greens, go to greens75.com. That's greens75.com. greens75.com.
Arcade City is a ride-sharing app built by drivers for drivers. It's more decentralized than Uber and Lyft. With Arcade City, you can keep all of what you earn. Sign up now to drive for Arcade City at arcade.freetalklive.com. Arcade City was created by New Hampshire liberty activist Christopher David. When he publicized the idea in January 2016, he hoped to recruit 100 drivers by the end of the month. Instead, he blew past his goal with over 1,300 drivers signing up in just 2 weeks. Arcade City is connecting drivers directly with riders and is disrupting the already disrupted transportation industry. If you want to get involved, you can join as a rider or a driver. To ride with Arcade City, visit arcaderide.freetalklive.com. To drive with Arcade City, visit arcade.freetalklive.com. That's arcade.freetalklive.com to drive, or arcaderide.freetalklive.com to ride with Arcade City.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
This is your Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Thursday, gold is $2 lower at $1,222 per ounce. Silver is even at $15.36 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $416 US. Both silver and gold are significantly lower after yesterday's sharp drop. This would be a great time to take advantage of buying on the dips. Give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. The number is 855-450-3733. You're going to want to use it if you've got some comments on, well, apparently these politicians throwing, slinging mud at each other about their wives and that kind of thing. It's seems like it's getting pretty down and dirty. The most recent delegate count was earlier this week, and Cruz took Utah and Trump took Arizona. And it's I wouldn't call it a close race, but it's going to be difficult for Trump to get that 1237 that he's hunting for. I'm not saying he can't do it, but it's tight. And if you've got thoughts on the presidential race, whether it's Republicans or Democrats, I'm interested in it.
Or Libertarian.
Well, the Libertarian one, you're going to have to go to the convention and vote if that's your thing. You can't. There are non-binding primaries around the country, not in every state, but some states have non-binding primaries. Mm-hmm. But that's how that goes. Real quick, before we get to the calls, I want to tell you about how you can save like 25%. Initially, it's 15%, but over time, you can save 25, 30% on everything that you purchase at Amazon. I know it's hard to believe, and it's not worth taking your time out of your schedule to try to learn things when you're just going to get scammed. But I'm telling you, we've been doing this at my house for a year now. We've saved hundreds and hundreds of dollars because we found that we can buy most things at Amazon. And the prices at Amazon are pretty much commensurate to the stores where you're going to buy them locally, even with shipping. And then we save 25% on top of that. Now, there is a catch. Here's the catch. You've got to acquire Bitcoin. You've probably heard of it. It's one of these alternative currencies, but it's the best one out there. It's a great international currency, and it can be used for so many things. And now you can save 25%. It's like getting a raise. It's like now you've got. If you could get a 25% raise at your job, wouldn't that be huge? Most of the things you buy, you can buy at Amazon, and most of the things you buy at Amazon, you can save 25% on through saveatpurse.com. Go there, secure your account now, stock it with Bitcoin, and then you can go through localbitcoin.com or whatever to buy Bitcoin, and then begin saving. Let's go to Jose calling in from Anniston, Alabama. Jose, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yes, good evening, good afternoon. I am an American Cuban. I don't call myself a Cuban American. I've been in the United States more than I was in Cuba as a kid. Look, you are voting or looking at Cuban American politicians. You need to do, I'm talking about the American voter, you need to do some research on Cuban politicians, whether they're Cubans or Cuban Americans, and look at the track record of Cuban Americans that have occupied public offices in the United States from all levels of government, municipal, county, state, and federal.
Well, I remember I grew up in Florida, and Rodriguez, I believe, may have I hope I got his name right. He was the governor for a long time there, and he was, I didn't hear anything of note about him. He seemed like a fine governor.
Well, he might be the exception. There are two things that go with Cuban politicians.
Okay.
Adultery, it's in their genes. Okay. It's the macho gene.
This is where I wanted this to go. Go ahead.
This isn't what I was thinking at all.
and corruption.
Okay.
Take a look at Representative Menendez, is it, up in New Jersey? He's facing charges, and he wants to select where he's tried. Who gets to choose that? But anyway, look. Donald Trump can have 20,000 affairs, and the American voter would not care.
No.
But these hypocrites that come across like the moralist gods for the American voter, and then they get caught in this situation. And there's also rumors about Marco Rubio going around. I don't know. I agree with you. I don't know what they're thinking, because sooner or later they will be found out. They're going to be vetted, especially by the opposition, and especially when they're talking in a hypocritical sort of way. And I'm calling you from the state of Alabama. It's not just Cuban-American politicians. I mean, we're dealing with Governor Bentley right now, and he says he made a mistake, and it's amazing the wording that he used. And he says, I want everyone to know that I have never had a physical affair with Mrs. Mason. Does that not almost sound familiar to Clinton?
Yeah, I'm telling you, these guys, at least they learn. I've got to say, though,
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
This is, I think, sort of a uniquely Republican problem. And
yes.
Why I say that is because
John Edwards was doing.
He
on
was
the
a
side,
Democrat,
but
absolutely.
His wife had cancer,
right? But that large voting bloc that most of the Republicans want to seize up is that the good, strong Christian. What's the word I'm looking for?
Moral majority.
The moral majority, and they want to grab that. They want to seize it and they want to tie it up. So they all have to play that. They're going to make appearances at churches, and they're going to meet with pastors and do all this stuff. And in the end, if this is your background and it's going to come out, then it's really going to make you look bad. And it consistently does.
Remember 999 Kane?
Sure. 999.
Yeah.
But he didn't have a sexual affair. They don't have sexual affairs. I don't know what we're supposed to call those affairs, but definitely not sexual.
Yeah, well, I think that there was something that came out about Cain that was supposed to be, him.
It was a mistress.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
like
sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it ever stuck.
Somebody he was giving gifts to.
Well, Jose, I used to live in South Florida, so I met a lot of Cuban Americans, and I guess I didn't draw any conclusions about Cuban American males, but when you started making your round generalizations as an American Cuban that I suppose you can make and I can't, I was thinking to myself, I guess I guess I met a lot of guys that would have fancied themselves ladies' men at that point. Are you saying that that's a stereotype for Cuban men?
I think it's a very accurate stereotype, and there are a lot of myths about the Cuban lovers and the Latino lovers and all that, which we all appreciate. We got to pass these myths on downward for future Hispanic generations.
Jose's all for perpetuating this one.
That's right.
Absolutely, this one works for me.
We have a duty.
Thanks for the call, Jose. He really seemed to enjoy that just a little too much.
I like that.
So I guess the situation here is that Ted Cruz, he decides to go after Donald Trump's wife. What's her name? It's slipping my mind. Whatever. There's a bunch of people screaming it at their radio right now, and it's slipping my mind.
I'm still stuck on Ivana. I can't remember his current wife's name.
Anyway, he goes after Trump's wife, and then says that puts a picture up at her in a campaign. One of his people puts up a picture of her in a campaign thing on Facebook in Utah of her buck naked on a bearskin or something like that, bearskin rug, and said, "Hey, you want this to be your first lady?" And well, it doesn't have to be. You can vote for Cruz. And apparently it worked because, that's what happened. But then Trump says he's going to go spill the beans on Ted Cruz's wife. And Ted Cruz is all flabbergasted that somebody would do such a thing.
And instantly it happens.
It's ridiculous.
Yet Donald denies it.
The number, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. I want to find out what those beans are. Free Talk Live.
The final phase of extermination is set to commence now. And as population die-off becomes evident, you know it is the time of punishment in all that is written. The cover for mass die-off is evolution and global warming frauds, also used as false proof of their Christ. They are from the lines that were disinherited 2,000 years ago. Now they claim to be his Christ based upon blood type, DNA, and long lifespan. Go to unveilingthem.com. That's UNVEILING them.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
This week, badly shaken researchers reported observing an osprey stalking, killing, and devouring an adult male lion in what is being called a massive food chain shakeup. Confirmation of the 3-pound marine bird consuming the 400-pound feline has biologists scrambling to determine the new predator-prey connections between the planet's billions of organisms.
We seem to be experiencing some sort of cross-species dietary free-for-all.
Scientists say that the killing of the healthy, full-grown lion by a typical osprey specimen has lent credibility to recent reports of a deer seen grazing on a nest of squirrels in Wisconsin, as well as a claim made by a group of Japanese fishermen who say they witnessed 300 million krill devouring a 40-ton humpback whale. In other news, NASA acquires the moon for an upcoming Kennedy Space Center exhibit. A radio DJ invites the whole town to some bullshit, and assuming the many universes theory of quantum mechanics is accurate, the review you've just seen will remain relevant in another reality for all eternity. For more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
If you want to move to the free state and you're looking for some real estate.
Oof, I think we've all had enough of that jingle, don't you? If you're going to invest in property in New Hampshire, it just makes sense to support a Liberty-friendly realtor. Call Mark Warden of Team Porcupine Real Estate for investment property or rentals in the Free State. Or visit his website. Come on, you know it.
PorcupineRealestate.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. It's the live weekend edition with Mark.
Yes.
And you can give us a call. The number is, Chris, say your name again. I think there was something wrong with the mic.
Yeah, that did catch.
Yeah.
This is Chris.
Okay. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about the presidential campaign, the muds being slung. And I got to say, I think that this campaign is different than the rest of them have been. This is, for me, there's been nothing like it. And I think Donald Trump has really thrown a curveball in there. So has Bernie Sanders. With Sanders, there seems to be sort of a real choice on the Democratic side. With Trump, you've got just this glorious chaos that has descended in his form. The glorious chaos with a comb over, right?
Well, I think what's interesting is we have so many people in both political parties that are both going for the, quote, anti-establishment candidate. And I think that's unique in this election cycle, where
populist.
You're right. Before, it's usually who the establishment has picked for both sides, and this time it's really two people that the establishment doesn't like at all.
It looks that way.
Yeah, but that's where the people are flocking to. And
there's no libertarian candidate amongst them, no secret libertarian amongst them like there was with Ron Paul. Not that he was much of a secret, but for me, Ron Paul was much more my guy than these people. But I do love to see the establishment on the run. It amuses me, even if I'm not delighted with my choices here.
Yeah, and I don't know how much of it is, and here's where because my mind has evolved over the last several years as I've got more into the ideas of liberty, is that sometimes I don't know if it just seems as crazy as it does because now I'm looking at it differently, or is it really that crazy? Maybe you can help me out.
I think it's different. Normally we do, when here on Free Talk Live, we're on 7 days a week. You can listen to us from 7p to 10p Eastern Time on 170 great radio stations across the country. And if you can't get us there, we're always at freetalklive.com. And oftentimes I get my show prep from this site called Freedom's Phoenix. It's a great place to get liberty-oriented news. Readers of Freedom's Phoenix are constantly provided detailed, real news that lies between the lines of propaganda and the relationship that we have with coercive governments. Freedom's Phoenix offers up-to-the-minute updates on the economy, technology, communications, and the rise of the police state. You can go now to freedomsphoenix.com and sign up for their daily dispatch like I get. Freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. Let's go to Rob calling in from Tallahassee, listening to WVTF. Rob, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
I'm calling in about this crap you said about Cruz being the one who put this picture out.
It's not him?
He did not do it. A PAC did. It wasn't even his PAC.
PACs.
There was a PAC. There was actually a woman from Mitt Romney's group. It was an anti-Trump PAC, and Cruz had nothing to do with it.
Don't you think an anti-Trump PAC is kind of like a Ted Cruz supporting organization right about now?
No, it had nothing to do with Ted Cruz. It was an establishment PAC.
Well,
it may be, but it certainly benefited him.
Establishment. They hate him as much as they do.
They hate him more. They hate him less than they hate Trump. I'll give you that.
More than they do. But here's the thing: he had nothing to do with it. Trump comes out, attacks his wife,
and says what?
Just because he likes to attack women, apparently, because they can't fight back.
What did he say
well.
about Heidi Cruz?
He said about Heidi Cruz, he's going to expose her.
Spill the beans, right? So what has he done? He hasn't attacked her. Right. He's just said he was going to spill the beans. He hasn't done anything.
That's pretty much an attack.
Okay.
Plus, then he comes out with this other thing.
It ain't a naked picture.
Or one with handcuffs.
He didn't have to do the naked picture.
Why? What did he have to do?
I mean, you can't talk. I know you can't talk to libertarians. They know everything. But
well, I'm one who doesn't.
It's okay. You can't talk to any partisan. They know everything.
But what I'm saying is you can't talk to partisans. They don't listen.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
And I was a big Trump fan at first until he did this crap on the ethanol, where he just totally sold out.
How did he sell out on ethanol?
How did he sell? What is ethanol?
Ethanol is corn juice.
Yeah, and it's supported by the government.
Okay.
If it wasn't supported by the government, it would fall flat in its face. It can't.
Yep.
So would most of the food would cost significantly more if it wasn't subsidized by the government. That much is certainly true.
Or less.
I don't know. I don't think
it wouldn't even survive as a business if it wasn't supported by the government. It doesn't have. It has nothing. It's nothing good about ethanol.
I concur with you on that.
Yeah, we're in agreement.
But he's probably pandering to farmers, would be my guess.
I was in an FSU movie, a guy who was a big supporter of ethanol. He went around on the late night shows and everything, supporting it. And then the next year he comes back, he starts apologizing. He says, I was wrong. Ethanol is a mess.
I think ethanol is a mess.
It costs more energy to make ethanol than it does to make gasoline, for one thing.
Thanks for the call, Rob.
So it doesn't really save any energy.
No, it's...
Second thing, one of the other things is ethanol is one of the hardest things on your engine you can never find.
Yeah, my car won't take the E55, E85 or whatever it is. Thanks for the call, Rob. Appreciate it. One thing, when you look at, say, a pound of beef that needs to consume a great deal of corn and grass in order to get where it is, and then you look at a pound of vegetation or corn or whatever, it makes no sense that a pound of corn costs the same as a pound of beef. A pound of beef should cost 40 times what a pound of corn is. Now, this is rough math on the back of a napkin here, but there's huge subsidies on grains and on meats, and the government should get out of that stuff.
No, it's not just subsidies, but it's also protectionism, and we still practice that with sugar and a variety of other things. It's basic economics that if you start messing with the marketplace, then you're going to get unintended consequences. And we end up propping up these industries that I have no problem with any industry if it can stand on its own 2 feet. But we start talking about the ethanol industry. We talk about wind power and solar power and things like that.
Talking about beef, too.
Yeah, or beef. Then let them stand on their own. And that's how we get the best products, and that's how we get the lowest prices, because they have to beat the competition. When you have government there with its set of crutches propping everything up, then there's no incentive.
Let's go to Ralph calling in from New Jersey. Ralph, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Yeah, well, what's on my mind is, these black animal
what?
in Cuba.
I can't hear you. I don't know what you said. I'm sorry.
This animal Obama El Negro in Cuba, while March Madness was going on in Europe, and,
you think Barack Obama should have been in the United States while March Madness was going on? Where is our president when people are playing basketball?
I'm not talking about basketball. You're making light of the fact that a carnage same mayhem was going on in Europe.
No, I'm not making light of that. You said March Madness. I thought you were talking about basketball.
That's the kind of March Madness I'm referring to. But speaking of the animal, once again you bring out the issue of race when he was there. Okay? Bringing up the slavery and all of that. They have their own history of race as well in Cuba. But I do know the difference between Haiti and Cuba. At least Cuba is not a satellite of Africa. That I know for a fact. Okay? The history of Cuba has nothing to do, unlike Haiti, has nothing to do with slavery whatsoever. Their nationhood, was attained with a struggle against Spain. Not,
well, there are racial struggles that have gone on in Cuba.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, each nation has to deal with these how they deal with them.
I should know about it? And Obama should bring out those things?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't listen to his entire speech there. It really didn't matter to me that much.
You know something? Let me say,
I certainly wouldn't call him an animal.
When it comes,
Thanks for the call. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live or LRN.FM on Skype. 855-450-FREE.
I'm Steve Sidkowski, a former Wall Street insider. Right now, I'm holding a book that could change your life. It will show you investing strategies which could help you earn the kind of money you've always dreamed about. And right now, I'm giving this book away for free. So who needs to read it? If you're in the middle of your career and you worry you'll never have enough money to retire, you need to read this book. If you're already retired and your income isn't enough, you need to read this book. And if you don't want to be selling burgers at the age of 80, well, you need to read this free book. The reality is, you'll need at least $1 million to ever fully retire. If you're behind on that goal, you really need to read Trade Like the Pros. And you can for free by calling 1-800-656-9549. Are you skeptical that it will deliver results? It's a free book, so what do you have to lose? Find out how at 1-800-656-9549. That's 1-800-656-9549. 1-800-656-9549.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Phone records, financial and location data, Prism, Tempora, X-Keyscore, Boundless Informant. Hey, y'all, Scott Horton here for offnow.org. Now, here's the deal. Due to the Snowden revelations, we have a great opportunity for a short period of time to get some real rollback of the national surveillance state. Now, they're already trying to tire us by introducing fake reforms in the Congress. And the courts, they betrayed their sworn oaths to the Constitution and Bill of Rights again and again, and can in no way be trusted to stop the abuses for us. We've got to do it ourselves. How? We nullify it at the state level. It's still not easy, but the Off Now project of the 10th Amendment Center has gotten off to a great start. I mean it. There's real reason to be optimistic here. They've gotten their model legislation introduced all over the place, in state after state. I've lost count, more than a dozen. You're always wondering, yeah, but what can we do? Here's something important, something that can work if we do the work. Get started cutting off the NSA support in your state. Go to offnow.org.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP. at amp.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, the live weekend edition of Free Talk Live with Mark
and Chris.
You can call in, talk about whatever is on your mind. I think a lot of Americans are thinking about this presidential race. A year ago when all this crap started up, I just didn't want to talk about it, but it's gotten into full swing. I'm pretty sure we're going to have somebody elected president come November.
That's pretty much a lock.
I'm reasonably certain somebody will. Will be elected president. So. That's the highest office in the world as far as I can tell, and so, I guess it matters. And certainly the people who want it badly. And we've been talking about it taking a certain personality type. Ted Cruz might be. I don't know these allegations. I'm not claiming the National Enquirer is right when it says that he's had 5 mistresses or whatever juggling 5 gals at the same time. I have no clue. It's none of my business. I would think it's Heidi's business, but none of mine. But they were right about John Edwards and Gary Hart and Jesse Jackson, and they've been right about a few of these things.
So a couple other news outlets have came out right after the National Enquirer story broke with a couple tweets saying, yeah, that jives with what we know. In other words, there were other agencies that knew about this stuff, but they hadn't taken it anywhere. They weren't going to put it out there quite yet, I'm
They're
sure.
not the Enquirer. Yeah.
They're not the Enquirer. Let the Enquirer do it, then we'll all jump on board.
I'd like to say that if Trump orchestrated that, it has nothing to do with it's not spilling the beans on Heidi, which is what he claimed he was going to do, so he failed to do that. Maybe Heidi is this angel that one can't spill the beans on.
Or the affair is just a completely different matter, had nothing to do with him at all, and there are still beans to be spilt on Heidi. She has secrets.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I
have no idea either.
Everybody's got secrets. I think that some secrets matter, some secrets don't. But a lot of people care about this infidelity thing. And if you care, the number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Let's go to Andrew calling in from WRNN in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Andrew, you're on Free Talk Live. Andrew, can you hear me? Okay.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
Gotcha. Turn off that radio.
I don't understand how you can say that Ted Cruz has anything to do with that super PAC. You said Ted Cruz had something to do with it. I don't understand. You could make the same argument that John Kasich could have something to do with it as well, because he's still in the election. Well, I don't think we ever said that. If I did, I certainly apologize. But what we were saying was, if it's a anti-Cruz, that would make it pro. It could be pro one, anti. I don't know what the super PAC's made up of. Super PAC that was saying.
I guess we lost him. So let me address that. Certainly. Everybody wants to act like there's not two sides to this. It looks like from where I sit, it just looks like two sides. I'm sorry. I mean, it looks like, these people, the establishment side doesn't want Trump on. He's their worst nightmare. Fine. And then Trump's sort of arrayed against them with the populist folks there. Believe me, I'm not on either side here. I don't like these folks necessarily. I do think that Trump is a glorious gift of comb-over wonderfulness handed to the media.
Comedy brilliance.
I think that is I guess I will say that I have this little spark in me that likes him for that reason, just because he's funny and amuses me. I like Joe Biden for the same reason.
Uncle Joe, yeah. With a cocktail in one hand and a shotgun in the other.
Let's talk to Tara calling in from Virginia Beach. Tara, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hi. First of all, we just wanted to say that we are Trump supporters. We believe that he really will
make America great again.
Yes, he certainly will. I mean,
does that mean America isn't great now?
Well, it is great, but I think he's going to make it even better.
Greater.
And
great again.
Yes. Well, he's a successful business leader as is, so we, can clearly see that he demonstrates he has the ability to be able to make things happen. So
I'd like to see Elon Musk ascend to the presidency. And one of the problems is that Elon Musk is an immigrant and he can't do it according to the Constitution. I wish we could get rid of that little thing there. I mean, how many good people are we cutting out of the presidency?
Elon was an illegal alien.
Illegal alien.
Illegal alien.
Trump would have exported Elon Musk, and he might still do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and in reference to Ted Cruz, what we've read is that there are now 8 mistresses, not just 5. So with that, lack of credibility and the fact that, with the things that he's demonstrated as far as the mailings and his campaign manager knew supposedly about this picture of Melania before it was sent out. Now with the 8 people, the 8 women, the mistresses, he just can't be trusted. He is a typical politician who will say anything to get elected, as far as we're concerned.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with you on that point, but newsflash, there's this thing called the internet, where if you want pictures of Melania Trump, all you got to do is Google Melania Trump images. Though. You can do nude, you can do swimsuit, and you'll get tons of stuff. I know this because I did it. But I guess where I'm at is I respect your passion for your candidate, and I get it. I'm just personally at that point where after the last, I don't know how many cycles, I've just got to the point where I just don't see it really mattering much to me. I'm more interested in who's running in my town, who's running in my state, and that's about as far up as I care to care.
Tara?
Well, the thing is, I feel that people are concerned about who's going to be the next president because it will make a big difference in their lives, and especially with, those that want amnesty, and then even Ted Cruz's wife wants a North America alliance. And so that's a big matter. People need to be focused on that because that will make a difference.
Thanks for the call, Tara. Do appreciate it.
Thank you.
855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. I kind of wonder sometimes about the issues. Oftentimes when Trump talks about the issues, he talks in a way that is sort of talks around the issues. He tends to fall on the side of some issues that I like. I'm not this let's get rid of everybody, destroy amnesty kind of folks. I think that the country is made strong by immigrants, and we should have a relatively liberal immigration policy. But nonetheless, I think that I tend to like Trump on some issues.
And compared to the rest of the neocons that we've had throughout this race, he was better on foreign policy. Is better on foreign policy than a lot of them were.
I just don't feel like he's. I feel like he's hacked the Republican mind, and that he has gone in and he's just come in to create chaos, and
move this line of code over here, and now let's see what happens.
I'm going to come in and I'm going to talk about immigrants and ISIS and talk tough and big walls, and they're just going to fall at my feet, and it feels like they did. I don't know. God. I don't know. Whatever. Let's go to Hassan calling in from New York. Hassan, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hello. I basically wanted to talk about a topic that you were covering yesterday. It was about the FCC and their actions leading to specific router manufacturers basically locking down their routers.
Yeah, so the FCC was attempting to establish backdoors for routers. Is that what we're talking about?
No, basically they were trying to restrict what people can actually modify. Like they didn't want people changing the transmit power or what channels the router used.
Right.
Okay.
So
even though those regulations were.
Yeah. So I've been a big fan of DDWRT for years, and I know some people are into OpenWRT and some of the other.
What is that stuff?
That is firmware that you can load onto your router so that you can tweak it.
Okay.
You can increase the security. You can do all kinds of crazy things with it. One of the things is you can jack up the power beyond what the federal regulations
I bet the FCC
say.
Really hates that.
Yeah,
they do hate you broadcasting. That's for sure. Hassan?
But there is an issue with that. The thing is, with most modern routers, you can't actually do that anymore. Like, for example, if you look at most of the the 3-spatial stream 802.11 AC routers.
Mm-hmm.
The most popular Wi-Fi amplifier is the Skyworks SE503L. That's one of their amplifiers. It tops out at about 700 milliwatts.
Okay,
that means,
how far is that?
Even if you had access to the software.
How far is that?
Basically, it doesn't calculate out into like specific range because that depends on the kind of antenna you're using too. But the FCC limit is 1,000 milliwatts. Most of these amplifiers don't go up to 1,000 exactly, and they don't really go above it because manufacturers aren't really targeting high transmit power if they're not allowed to use it.
Right. So I don't know.
Limit the transmit power.
Yeah, I can't speak to this person. I have loaded alternative firmwares on different AC routers over the last year or two, and frankly, transmit power is not one of those things I really get into. I'm more interested in what can I do. What can I do to keep the FBI and the NSA out of my router? That's what I'm interested in.
Hassan, thanks for the call. Oops, sorry, 855-450 free coming up here. If you've got thoughts on this election, look, I get that there's going to be a president, and I may not like the candidates, and it's easy for me to sort of sit here on the sidelines, but your thoughts are welcome. The numbers are 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE.
When you need custom embroidered or screen printed apparel for your business, organization, or a special event, Corporate Casuals has been helping people create great-looking logoed apparel for over 25 years. They can produce a single piece or thousands using name brand apparel like Nike, Patagonia, Adidas, and Hanes. Create your logo in their online embroidery design studio or upload your existing logo and they'll turn it into embroidery. Go to corporatecasuals.com/FTL and include FTL in the order notes and save 5% on your order.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, March 26th, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.20 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,217 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $424. Antiwar.com reports while there have been rumblings since December about Britain sending ground troops into Libya, the Cameron government has repeatedly denied any deployments and indeed insists there was no planning to do so. A newly leaked memo shows those denials were a lie and that Britain has had SAS special forces operating on the ground in Libya since at least early January when Jordan's King Abdullah briefed U.S. congressmen on the matter. King Abdullah told them that UK special forces had needed help from the Jordanian military in translating certain aspects of Libyan Arabic, noting that Jordanian slang is very similar to the Libyan variety. He said Jordanian troops would embed with the SAS forces. British officials refused to comment on the leak, though U.S. Senate officials confirmed the meeting that served the underpinning for the memo. They did, however, refuse to confirm the content as the memo was supposed to be secret. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports former Corinthian College's students left with education loans after the private college chain abruptly shut its doors last year can have their loans forgiven, according to the U.S. Department of Education. On Friday, the U.S. Department of Education said former students from 2010 to 2014 at 91 Everest and Wyotech college campuses in 20 states have a clear path to loan forgiveness under evidence discovered by the department while working with the multiple state attorneys general. Former students must apply through the Department of Education. An estimated 350,000 students took out student loans to finance an education through one of the Corinthian colleges. Joseph A. Smith, the department's special master for borrowers' defense claims, said the department has already approved loan discharges for more than 8,800 former Corinthian students nationwide, totaling more than $130 million. The news from the department comes just days after a California State Superior Court judge issued a $1.1 billion judgment against the college chain. It's unlikely, however, that students will see any money from the school. The school shut its doors in April 2015 and filed bankruptcy a month later. In addition to leaving students in the lurch, officials said the school misrepresented its job placement rates and its affiliation with the U.S. military. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports a federal judge on Friday struck down an Alabama law that required abortion providers to have admitting privileges at local hospitals. The ruling comes amid a wave of new abortion laws in states where conservatives are aiming to chip away at the U.S. Supreme Court's landmark 1973 Roe v. Wade decision that legalized abortion nationwide. U.S. District Judge Myron Thompson in Alabama issued the 53-page ruling, saying the provisions in the state's so-called Women's Health and Safety Act would effectively close the abortion clinics in Alabama's three largest cities, Montgomery, Mobile, and Birmingham. Thompson wrote the staff privileges requirement would make it impossible for a woman to obtain an abortion in much of the state. It is certain that thousands of women per year, approximately 40% of those seeking abortions in the state, would be unduly burdened. Representatives for the Alabama Attorney General's office could not be immediately reached for comment on Friday. Susan Watson, executive director of the American Civil Liberties Union of Alabama, applauded the order. She said in an interview, this ruling protects Alabama women and ensures access to a safe and legal abortion. She added that similar laws being pushed in other states appeared to be a concerted effort nationwide to scale back abortion rights. A comparable provision to Alabama's was part of a law signed in Florida by Republican Governor Rick Scott on Friday, and the U.S. Supreme Court is considering a challenge to an abortion law in Texas, where several clinics have closed due to new restrictions. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Here is the Onion Weekend Review Transportation Edition. In Albany, a Greyhound bus crash claimed 30 miserable lives Tuesday, finally putting over 24 deadbeat fathers, penniless drug addicts, and hapless bastards out of their misery. Emergency crews at the scene of the merciful accident described the sea of fast food bags, candy bar wrappers, and losing lottery tickets surrounding the crash site as utterly tragic, adding that the scorched corpses inside the bus were, quote, only slightly more lifeless than before the deadly accident.
Evidence suggests that most of the victims suffered during the crash, and for many years before they even boarded the bus. All I can say is, thank God no one made it.
Al-Qaeda is refusing to carry out any further terrorist attacks until the U.S. mass transportation infrastructure is drastically improved, calling the country's roads and bridges a, quote, travesty, unbecoming of a developed first world nation.
We want to turn your bridges into rubble. But if we took credit for making them collapse, no one would ever believe us.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. It's a live Saturday night edition. You can call in and talk about whatever's on your mind here on Free Talk Live. We've been talking about the, what does talk radio do? We're talking about the presidential run here. It's getting rather close.
Or theater, depending on your point of view.
Yeah, it's theater. I mean, certainly I don't have a favorite actor in this one.
Me either.
But I wonder to myself, is it going to go? Are the Republicans going to go to a brokered convention, or is Trump going to manage to get to that magic 1237? I don't know the answer to this. It seems like the recent allegations that Cruz is like juggling, I don't know, a baker's dozen of philandering women. I have no idea what's going on here.
Oh man, yeah, he's good.
I know that the National Enquirer tends not to be wrong on these issues.
Yeah,
and
they have that history. They've done a very good job of fact-checking before they go after the big guys.
If this was the Weekly World News and we were talking about Bat Boy...
I was just going to say that.
I wouldn't go for it, but I do tend to, they broke a lot of stories. John Edwards wishes they hadn't got a hold of him.
And like I said, particularly that other news organizations have said that jives with the name that we've heard too. So there may definitely be something behind this. That the question is does that corrode the evangelical vote so much? That's almost a moot point because Trump is winning in evangelical states too. So I don't know if it.
He was
helps
at Liberty
hurts.
University talking about 2 Corinthians. John calling in from Albuquerque. John, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, I wanted to say that I think the best thing that can come out of this election is possibly the rise of a third party candidate. They did a poll. I saw a poll that basically put Gary Johnson actually at about 11%.
Yeah, I saw that same poll. Now,
Me too.
I'd like to point out that it's gotten much harder. Ross Perot scared the pants off of the establishment duopoly out there years ago, and it is remarkably difficult to just sort of hop in and run as an independent.
Oh, yeah.
You have to be on the ballot. Many of these places, their balloting's done. You have to get a huge amount of signatures to get on the ballot. They want you to get tens of thousands, in some cases hundreds of thousands of signatures, and then they're going to toss half of those signatures out. So it pretty much has to be a Republican, a Democrat, or a Green, maybe. Like they might have enough states to pass somebody through, and then the Libertarian it certainly has enough states. Now we don't know who it's going to be, but last year it was Gary Johnson, who was the 2-time Republican governor of the state of New Mexico. He vetoed more bills than any other governor has in U.S. history.
And for that, I respect him.
Right. If you want a small government candidate, Gary Johnson is a really good choice. I think it's kind of amusing that for a time there was the front runner of the Democrats was a socialist. The front runner of the Republicans still looks like a Democrat, and the front runner for the Libertarians is a Republican. I think it's a strange season.
Well, it is a straight. But the thing, I think, though, you're right, Ross. Ross Perot kind of shot himself in the foot with his vice presidential pick, and then
ninjas.
He started talking crazy about the CIA. I think sabotaging his daughter's wedding.
Who knows?
But I think but maybe they did. Who knows? But nonetheless, I think in this go around, you have people that are clearly dissatisfied across the board with. Last time you had an incumbent that was coming off the Desert Storm that, was pretty popular there. And you had Clinton, who was a fairly moderate guy. Those were tough candidates to work around nonetheless. You don't have that now. So I think if anything, though, you have also millennials and even Generation Xers and a lot of baby boomers, too, that are really thinking this might be the time to go behind a third-party candidate and get some more recognition. I think you're right. I'm not saying he would win. I don't think he'd have a chance in hell of winning.
But the vote count for a libertarian is important. For libertarians, important because oftentimes the states will count how many votes the presidential candidate got, and they'll make assumptions based on that. They'll let them be in the they'll let them be in the debates. They'll let them be on the ballot. They don't have to do all the petitioning. So to me, I think the only way you can make your vote count in America is to vote for a third party. And for me, I'm going to, in all likelihood, vote for the Libertarian. Now, Gary Johnson doesn't have it lined up at this point, but he did. This poll came out specifically about him, but he could be. It's possible. There's a few other candidates running against him. One of our co-hosts, Daryl W. Perry, is running against him for the Libertarian nomination,
and has debated him a couple times. I think if I were to look at the American public and they're so fed up with the duopoly, the choice of two happens to be the magic number. We can only have two choices, Coke or Pepsi. I would love to see more people get involved in overturning ballot access laws and freeing that stuff up. The problem is who decides going to be on the ballot is Republicans and Democrats, and they both know what they want. That's it.
Hey, John, I do appreciate the call. Thanks so much. The number is 855-450-3733. 855-450-FREE. Let's go to Sean calling in from Montana. Sean, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, guys. Don't agree with you, and maybe I have to change my speaking. Instead of saying I don't have a dog in the fight, I should say an actor in the theater. That was awesome. But to go back to something you guys were talking about a little bit earlier about the Trump comment about spilling the beans.
Yes.
I don't think the sex scandal with Cruz and the beans are related. To me, I don't have a dog in the fight, but I still am the kind of a person who tries to dig in and research like I used to, And what I think he's talking about is what's already in plain sight to people that research, but not to people who watch the debates or the TV news. Heidi Cruz has built her whole career working on everything that Cruz is campaigning against.
Very true. Goldman Sachs and stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, and being employed by Condoleezza Rice, she's been a Busher career, She's, worked on a lot of their big things, and one of your callers also already commented about the North American Union and stuff like that. I mean, she's a total insider. So is he. His whole career, he's been a government employee. So who are they fooling?
Well,
Those are the beans, I think.
Yeah, and that's legitimate criticism.
I wonder about this.
Those were the beans, I think. So
it could be, Sean, and I'm not. I'm saying I agree mostly with what you're saying, but I am a guy whose wife, has her own opinions when it comes to the election. There have been times when we've voted, our votes have canceled each other out. Like we often will vote, absentee. So I'll see her ballot.
I mailed it,
and I'm like, oh, really? And she feels the same way. So I guess the people can be in a house. People can love each other, can share a life with each other, can cook food together, raise a family together, and still disagree on sort of some which one of these unsavory politicians should be in the highest office in the land.
Well, I think it's different than. Well, I look at the Heidi and Ted marriage, and I'm not going to make any assumptions that it's not a real marriage. They've got kids, so on and so on. But this so reminds me of Bill and Hillary. It seems to me like you might be getting you may be getting a power couple. You may be getting a team there.
It was done for centuries in Europe, right? I mean, these kings and queens, and the king could do whatever he wanted, and I assume maybe the queen had that kind of freedom too. Maybe she didn't. I don't know the answer. The kings and queens, and there would all be all these illegitimate children. It was a mess. Who knows? Sean, thank you for the call for bringing us.
Awesome. Have a good night, guys.
Thanks so much. 855-450-3733. I still want to know what's going to happen. Is Trump going to be the nominee with 1237 or not? 855-450-FREE, Free Talk Live. Or is it going to be a brokered convention?
Oh, brokered, I hope.
855-450-FREE.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, But now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Hey guys, Pat Matthews here to tell you about the newest and best way to sell products online. It's buysellmakeoffer.com, an enormously revolutionary way to sell your stuff online. It's time to clean out the garage, your old golf clubs, sports equipment, tools, and yes, even your car. Forget about the way the other guys have taken more than their share from you when the sales were finalized. Look, it's happened to me over and over and over. Then I found buysellmakeoffer.com. They will never charge you item fees. Just go there right now to sign up and load all your stuff to our server to sell. This is not an auction site. Sell your car, sell your home. Realtor, sign up now. Just use our resources along with Skype and videos, then add your creativity to sell your items quickly and with no fees. Go right now to buysellmakeoffer.com and sign up. The excitement is building. I've signed up to sell my stuff with buysellmakeoffer.com. You should too. buysellmakeoffer.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, coming to you live this Saturday of the weekend edition. It's Mark with you.
And Chris.
You can give us a call and talk about anything you want. We've been talking about the presidential campaign thing. Those that would rule you, those that wish to wield the ring of power, they will do it with meekness, with humility, with an even hand.
I'm sorry, Mark. I just can't keep a straight face.
Honesty and goodness, kindness and bravery, the fruits of the Spirit. They will be so much better than leaders that have come before them. Yeah. They'll make America great again, which is great now, or something. Regardless, it's all very interesting to watch. Your thoughts, 855-450-FREE. I have asked
sort of people to explain the path, what's going to happen. This is sort of the path to victory here, because it seems like pretty much only Trump has it. The only one who can get 1237 is Trump. Now, will he is sort of a different question. If it goes to a brokered convention, I feel like those in the party will. I think that they may undermine him anyway. But if he doesn't get the 1237, that they most certainly will.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know. I mean, numerically, what do we have out there? We have 944 delegates still available on the Republican side.
Cruz isn't eliminated, but some big news just came out from the National Enquirer. If they were attempting to destroy his campaign, they should have waited a couple of weeks, because it's going to be, there's the next race is in very early April the 3rd, North Dakota, Wisconsin, April the 5th, and then New York, April the 19th. Now, after Cruz goes and calls, says those darn New Yorkers, and Trump's from New York, it seems like those 95 delegates are probably going to go to Trump. I don't have the information here if that's a winner-take-all, but I think I recall that it is. I could be wrong.
Cruz is getting to that point where he's got to sweep everything.
It's getting there, and he's not. He doesn't seem to have that momentum.
No,
and it looks like he's running on a flat tire now.
Yeah.
Let's go to Gary calling in from Duluth, Minnesota. Gary, you're on Free Talk Live.
Thanks for taking my call. I listened to you earlier and talking about a third party. Let's not forget that we actually will have an independent candidate if Bernie Sanders wins, because he's only running under Democrat, so he could get into the race. So if you listen to the man, he's got a lot of smart ideas, and they call him a socialist, but we do live in a country that has socialist programs. And any country that collects your tax dollars and pays for military, infrastructure, schools, Medicare, Social Security, those are all socialist programs.
Yeah, I'd like to point this out to anybody out there, is that any government is a socialist government.
Sure.
It is forcing the redistribution of your wealth. It is claiming to own the means of production.
It's a question of scale.
Let me explain the means of production real quick. So the ultimate means of production, I believe there are two. The things that come from the earth, so trees and stuff mined and water, things like that. And then there's the land, and then there's human labor. They tax, in the United States, they tax both of these.
Yep.
If you can tax something, it's yours. You own it. A landlord charges rent because he owns the place. If I come to your house and say, you're going to give me some money for living here, I'm either your landlord or the government.
Right.
But I repeat myself, because the government is your landlord. Ultimately, they own the property. If you don't pay their rent, property taxes, they will take that property from you. They own the means of production. They are a socialist organization. All governments are socialist organizations. As a libertarian, I stand against socialism. However, there's some things about Bernie Sanders I like, and I have endorsed him for the for the Democratic nomination. Bernie Sanders is not going to attack too many foreign nations. Hillary Clinton is a warmonger.
Yes.
She is all about that. Bernie Sanders is going to have to deal with a Republican House, and he's not going to get anything through. But then again, neither is Hillary Clinton. So,
and I would argue that Donald Trump may not, and Ted Cruz may not either.
This is my statement to anybody out there who's going to be voting in the Democratic primary is that if you're for peace, if you believe that trade and kindness go farther than bullets and bombs, you should vote for Bernie Sanders, because he's going to do better there. Now, I couldn't vote in the Democratic.
Go
ahead.
Let's not forget that if Trump gets in and the Republican Party crashes, or Trump's on the ticket, he's going to wipe out a lot of people on the downside of the ticket. So the next person in the Oval Office might have a little bit more friendlier Congress to work with.
So how's that? So what do you think Trump's going to do to people voting Republican?
I think people that are going to vote are not going to vote for Trump, and they're not going to vote for that senator that's below him or the congressman that are below him.
Sometimes that happens.
And that's a big fear they have right now. So if Bernie Sanders get in, he could have a friendly senator, a group of senators, and a more friendlier group of congressmen.
Yeah, one thing that the polls have shown is that Sanders does better against Trump than Clinton does.
Right.
And I would, and I made this prediction a long time ago, is that I don't think Clinton can beat any Republican except possibly Trump. And I don't know. I'm not claiming that Clinton can beat Trump. But I think that Sanders probably would.
The last few polls I look at, Trump not only beats Trump, but he beats him by 20 points.
Sanders beats Trump by 20 points is what you said?
By 20 points, yes. Yeah. It's huge.
Yeah,
it's not even double digits. It's double digits in the 20s.
I'll tell you why I like to see the Bernie machine going like it is. And believe me, I agree with you completely, Mark, on foreign policy and not killing other human beings.
That's important to me. That's where I vote.
And I understand that and I respect that. It's on taking a admittedly socialist country and making it way, way, way more invasive on my personal life that I could never vote for him in a presidential campaign.
Well, I'm only going to vote for the candidate, that most, that mirrors my values. So I'm probably never going to be able to vote for Sanders because in the primary, I'm an elected Republican, so I can't take a Democratic ballot in the state of New Hampshire. It's not possible for me to do it without giving up my office, and I'm certainly not going to do that. However, in the general, I'm going to be looking at likely a pretty good libertarian. I've looked at the list, and it's if it's Gary Johnson, I'm certainly going to vote for them. So I'll probably end up voting for the libertarian, but I also look at these polls, and the polls do show that Sanders is a better performer against Trump. But what do you think, Gary? Do you think he's going to be able to pull it off? It doesn't look like it. He's got to come from behind, right?
Well, he picked up a couple of big states today.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to pick up
big geographically. I don't think Alaska counts as a big state, other than it is the biggest state.
But keep in mind the superdelegates, that's not locked in.
No, they're not.
If you go back to 2008, Hillary Clinton had all the superdelegates, but as Obama started doing the big roll through the country, those superdelegates changed their minds because they voted the way their state went.
But Obama was farther ahead at this point in the election than Sanders is. Even if it ends up close, it seems like the superdelegates, they could go either way, and they're already kind of on board with Clinton.
And so were the superdelegates for Hillary back in 2008.
Thanks for the call.
And they backed off and went with Obama.
855-450-FREE, Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS?
Get on board with the Tax Admiral. Don't pick on the IRS alone. I'll cut penalties and reduce your overall tax bill. Sometimes I can even get it zeroed out completely.
We're an A-rated company helping people clean up their mess with the IRS.
If you owe $10,000 or more, then call the Tax Admiral.
Call 800-287-7180. Again, that's 800-287-7180. 800-287-7180.
Don't know what's in your drinking water? Better get a ProPure. With the Pro 1 G2.0 all-in-one filter, remove over 200 contaminants, including fluoride and lead. Taste water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure water filtration products. There's a ProPure system for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details on our current free shipping special or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
This is your Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Thursday, gold is $2 lower at $1,222 per ounce. Silver is even at $15.36 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $416 US. Both silver and gold are significantly lower after yesterday's sharp drop. This would be a great time to take advantage of buying on the dips. Give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Does this ever happen to you? Moments after you're introduced to someone, you forget his or her name. It's a common faux pas you'll want to avoid, especially if you're a job seeker. And even if you're not, here's a tip. As you are being introduced, and while you're still shaking hands, smiling, and making eye contact, say the person's name aloud. Not only does that make a deposit in your memory bank, it acknowledges the other person. And that is more than a nuance, as is maintaining eye contact. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. Cutting through the clutter rather than blending into the blah, blah, blah will help you connect better no matter what the conversation. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
You can watch the LRN Studio Cam and chat with other listeners anytime at cam.lrn.fm. That's cam.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live's live weekend edition. You can give us a call and talk about, well, anything that's on your mind. We have been talking about this presidential, election thing going on here. The primaries are heating up. They're about as hot as they could possibly get, and it's it's kind of interesting. A guy called in last segment. He was talking about who could beat whom, and this is something that just doesn't seem to matter to the average voter because they just vote for whoever they want.
Yeah, so as we look at Real Clear Politics, and that's a great site for just mashing up a whole bunch of different possibilities. Real Clear Politics over the last, we're going to say 6 or 7 polls that they've looked at, Trump versus Clinton, Clinton wins by 11.2 points. That's pretty substantial. Cruz versus Clinton, Clinton wins by 2.9 points. Maybe Cruz wins by 3. It's very tight on a Cruz versus Clinton. If we look at Kasich,
I would like to point out with Clinton, there are a lot of bones buried out back. Nobody has the. It's not coming out in this primary. No, Sanders isn't fighting that way. He's not saying, "Look, this lady's got scandal after scandal after scandal." I mean, the first word out of my mouth, if I was running in the primary against Hillary Clinton, would be FBI investigation. Every time, it came out of my mouth. He's not hitting those points. That's not the kind of candidate he is, and I suppose that may speak highly of him to some people, but I think that it really is harming him against Clinton.
I think when you talk Clinton and skeletons, with Clinton you can talk real skeletons. I mean, like dead bodies. There's a list of people that she worked with at the Rose Law Firm, people that were in the Clinton White House. Does anybody remember Vince Foster?
I know the name, but
how many people?
He got killed in a park or something, right?
Yeah, I think he after he shot himself in the back of the head with a pistol, he rolled himself up into a rug and dumped himself in a park, and it was a suicide.
There's a lot of people that are very skeptical of all these people that have died around the Clintons, and
they continue
Whitewater
to,
and all this other stuff.
Yeah, so there are a lot of things there to look at, but I just don't understand how on the Democrat side that she still has. I mean, that's the establishment, but it is what it is.
But Sanders performs much better against the Republican candidates.
Well, this is striking, I thought. So if we go Kasich versus Clinton, Kasich by 6.5 points.
Kasich can beat Clinton.
Yep. And then if we look at Trump versus Sanders, you would think this is going to be closer. This is going to be Trump. Sanders by 17.5%. Sanders by 14, by 24. It's like landslide sort of numbers.
Really weird.
Yeah.
Because the candidates that are most likely to win in the general are the least likely to win in the primaries. And that shows how fractured America has gotten.
Yep.
See, what the Republican Party should do is go to a brokered convention, take Gary Johnson, the former Republican, then now Libertarian, then knee Republican again candidate, put him up and watch him defeat whoever the Democrats put up.
Right.
But they're never going to do this. What makes the most sense can't happen anymore. The political system is so broken. America is so angry that they cannot see past their faces.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that scenario up because Reason's done a piece on that, and I think the New York Times had a piece basically saying why Gary Johnson, as the result of a broker convention, as a true small government Republican, would be the most palatable to the followers of Donald Trump and a Ted Cruz. This is what Gary Johnson's ideal is, what the Trump backers want. They just think they're going to get it.
Choices
they think they're going to get it for Trump.
Trump's a tough talker, and that's for sure. Let's go to the phones here. I've got Dustin calling in on Skype. Dustin, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind? Dustin, can you hear me now? Yeah, must be a problem with the audio there. Dustin, it looks like you might have your microphone muted, so see if you can handle that. Also, when you call in on Skype, there's a little chat box underneath, and we often ask for the topic you're going to call on, and you can just type it in there. So that's taken directly in our studio, so I know that at the very least that's supposed to be coming. That audio should be good on our side. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Dustin has figured out the chat box and the audio. Are you there, Dustin? Apparently not.
We got half of it. We got chat. Chat doesn't make for compelling radio, though.
No, that's not going to go. So, yeah, let's go to the phones and to the fun. Earl calling in from Seneca Falls. Earl, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, good evening, gentlemen. For one, the Greens are on every ballot in the United States.
On all 50 states, even Oklahoma?
Yep, even Oklahoma.
Wow, I'm skeptical, but I'll take your word. Let's operate as though the word you're saying is true. I hold no ill will towards the Greens.
Yes. Also, what is the definition between a naturalized citizen and a native-born citizen? I always wondered.
Well, naturalized means that you. Yeah,
because I understand that Senator Cruz was born in Canada.
Yep, that's true.
American mother, Hispanic father, but born in Canada.
Right. I believe that a great deal of legal minds have gone over this, and that the best they can tell is that he's an American and eligible to run for the presidency. I mean, I wouldn't think he would waste any of his time and energy running if he didn't think that he had some legal leg to stand on.
Yeah. But also, I wish they'd get rid of these super PAC people.
Well, this is the difficulty. Can you tell me how they would run the political system? Like, can you give me an answer as opposed to get rid of super PACs? And I hear you. I don't like the way money is involved in politics either, but it seems like you either have to, free it up so anybody can spend any amount of money they want, or you have to make it so that nobody can spend a single penny.
Oh, very true about that last part. But,
yeah.
It might just have to come down to subsidizing the parties.
People have suggested that. that the government give money to individual candidates that score a certain score a certain amount in polls or whatever. But then that kind of discounts the come from behind candidates, the ones that
Right.
I mean the libertarians and the Greens aren't going to get much.
And they're not getting much today.
They're not.
And that would be
most people can't name the Green Party nominee 4 years ago. I interviewed Jill Stein, and she is, an incredibly intelligent and articulate woman. I don't agree with her any more than I agree with Bernie Sanders.
Right.
But I like her on foreign policy. But there's people that you're impressed with when you stand before them, and I felt that way. Now she's she's a diminutive woman. Maybe I shouldn't feel, impressed, but I really did. She's like 5'3" or 4, but she's intense, like you wouldn't believe. And to me, she's as presidential as any of these people that were running the last go round.
And what kills me is it's just the American people that lose out the way ballot access is set up, because there are great people, or at least voices that they're just not going to hear. The mainstream media is locked down, so you're not going to hear anything about Jill Stein's positions on anything through the news. You're not going to get a chance to see her debate.
You heard it on RT. It had to be Russia Today that would put a debate together for these. It's disgusting how the mainstream media just glosses over other options for president. People get in there, they vote, they're like, who the heck are these people on the ballot? They assume they're like the guy with the rubber boot on his head, Vermin Supreme.
Right.
They have no idea.
Yet we have to look to Vladimir Putin to provide some semblance of ballot access, or at least access to candidates in our country. It's insanity.
Thanks for the call, Earl. Really appreciate it.
Take care, gentlemen.
Oops. He was going to say thank you. That's what he's going to say, I swear. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE, Free Talk Live.
This is a life-changing message for anyone with sleep apnea who is on the go and tired of dragging around a big, bulky home CPAP device. MiniCPAP.com now offers a portable device that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. For even more freedom, you can add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. It's called the Transcend Mini CPAP, and right now you can try it risk-free for 10 days by calling 1-800-945-9289. Transcend is the world's first portable mini CPAP device. It gives you the freedom to sleep in total comfort anywhere you are. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is so small and so light you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. Call minicpap.com now for your 10-day at-home trial. 1-800-945-9289. That's 1-800-945-9289.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Free Talk Live.
And I still swore to the Commander-in-Chief.
What oath is higher to you?
I'm not going to stand up and go AWOL because, I don't believe.
Well, wait, nobody said you had to go AWOL. Did you swear 2 oaths, one to the Commander-in-Chief and then one to the Constitution?
You swear one to the Constitution as your Commander-in-Chief as your executive order.
Which part of the oath is the priority? Is it upholding the Constitution? Well, so whatever the commander-in-chief says is what goes.
That sounds like a cult of personality to me.
It doesn't matter if it's unconstitutional.
This is a nation of laws, supposedly, I was told, and since the Constitution's the highest law in the land, if the commander-in-chief violates that piece of paper, then you should, as a person who swore an oath to that Constitution, go in there and arrest him.
Okay, well, I mean, you're making sense.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. It's the live weekend edition of Free Talk Live. You've got Mark.
And Chris.
The number's 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. We're talking all about the big, I don't know, primary, what are we calling this? Primary season, the selection, the race. I don't know what to call it.
TV show pilot.
Yeah, right. It's beginning.
Can we call it that?
Yeah, it's beginning to look that way. And, somebody's going to be president. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't particularly like the folks that are being proffered out there, but somebody's going to be there.
A lot of people just believe that Obama is going to declare martial law, and we will have Obama forever.
They said that with George Bush, too.
And they said that with Bill Clinton.
Did they?
Twice.
They may have said that with Bill
absolutely.
Clinton. I wasn't as plugged in at the time. So let's go to Steve calling in from Chesapeake. Oh, real quick, I want to tell you how to get, before we go to the phones, how to get 500 business cards for just $10. It's vistaprint.com. Now, not only can you just get them printed, but they've got a really great tool that helps you to make your own business cards. They've got amazing customer service. They guarantee you'll love the products every time, or they'll make it right. You can custom design your card to help you design the perfect product for your business or, your church or whatever hobbies you've got. I mean, business cards are useful for all kinds of things. Even calling cards if you're dating. I would think that if you're in the club that it would be nice to be able to hand your number to somebody. I don't know. Haven't done this in a long time. Maybe I'm out of the loop.
Here's my card.
855-450-3733. Tell you real quick about how to get 500 custom business cards for just $9.99. All you have to do is go to vistaprint.com. You design your custom business cards and then enter our code, FTL. That's FTL as in Free Talk Live, unless you hate the show, in which case it's FTL as in faster than light. Either way, you get a 50% discount over the normal regular site pricing. That's coupon code FTL at vistaprint.com for 500 business cards for just $9.99. Going to Steve in Chesapeake. Listen on WNIS. Steve, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, Mark, Chris, thanks for taking my call. And, Mark, I have to say, Vistaprint has a whole lot of, cards that you can choose from. Everything. As far as the design that they have. Yeah, so
Gold
it's wonderful.
leaf.
So just want to...
Everything.
Oh, yeah, and then raised print and everything, yeah.
What happened to Vellum? I remember when Vellum was the thing for business cards, and I don't see it anymore.
What about the fold-over ones and the ones with the torn edges?
Yeah. There's all kinds of shtick. Now it's those really thick ones where you like hit it and a dunk. They like thump. It's like a piece of paneling for your house.
We have passed the golden age of business cards.
Steve, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But the caller earlier had mentioned about the difference between native-born and naturalized.
Yeah.
And there's been so much just complete crap about what the real truth is about what the Founding Fathers intended in Section 1, Article 1, as far as the requirements for somebody to be president. And so I've been trying to think, what's the easiest way to describe this? And they want, so I use this analogy. There's the difference between a artificially flavored cookie and a naturally flavored cookie. Okay, they're both cookies. They may both taste like vanilla or chocolate or whatever flavor they have, but only one of them is, the ones that the Founding Fathers said are good enough to be in the Oval Office. And you said, well, Ted Cruz, if there was a problem with this, he wouldn't be doing this. But let me tell you something. Both Ted Cruz and Rubio and Jindal were all very quiet while this was all going on when Obama was being harassed mercilessly by Hillary Clinton's operatives.
Right.
When it came to, she started the whole birther movement. Remember that?
Yeah.
And so the issue here is that when Ted Cruz was recently defending himself against Donald Trump, he was saying, "Oh, my mother was an American, so what? I was, and he only, by the way, just recently in the last year went and had his Canadian citizenship ended. By the way." He didn't know he was a Canadian. But anyway, the issue is that they all got in the race after they saw that Obama was able to get away with it, because the whole issue has been so obfuscated and thrown in so much, chum in the water for this and that. And but it's a very simple thing. A naturalized citizen is somebody who has become a citizen through legislation or an act of Congress. Somebody who is natural born is somebody who is born to two parents on U.S. soil.
Well, I like to.
It's very simple.
Well,
People have.
But John McCain wasn't born on U.S. soil.
We did own Panama.
Obama sat in the Senate and they had a vote on whether John McCain was eligible to run for president, and Obama voted to say John McCain was eligible. The thing is that
because he should have been
John
eligible.
McCain's father was.
Hold on.
Well, you say he should have been eligible because his father was in the military and he was born on a military base. Therefore, that's U.S. soil. But the thing is that his mother actually was sent to a hospital in the city and not on the bases where he was actually born. So technically, he would not have been.
I'm still stuck on the fact where you said Obama voted while he was in the Senate, and I wasn't aware that actually happened. When I look at
on whether John McCain would be eligible or not, and Obama was a senator, and he did vote to say yes, let McCain run for president.
So here's where I'm going to say I miss Scalia a little bit, and how I like listening to Judge Andrew Napolitano and both
Napolitano for SCOTUS.
Sweet. But both of them talk a lot about, going back to the ratifying conventions and going back to the early letters between these guys to try to figure out exactly what their intents were, as opposed to, the Constitution's the living document, whatever you want it to believe. But I Googled a little bit on this, and John Jay wrote to George Washington urging a, quote, strong check to the admission of foreigners into the administration of our national government, and to declare expressly that the commander-in-chief of the American Army shall not be given nor devolve on any but a natural-born citizen. Justice Story later noted that the natural-born citizenship requirement, quote, cuts off all chances for ambitious foreigners who might otherwise be intrigued for the office.
But a foreigner, none of these, you can't claim that Cruz is a foreigner. He was born a U.S. citizen. You can't claim that McCain is a foreigner. He was born a U.S. citizen.
But he is a naturalized citizen. He has become a citizen by statute, by legislation, by an act of Congress, not by being born on U.S. soil.
But were they?
The same people, oftentimes. So what about anchor babies? Are you saying that you would support the child of some illegal immigrants becoming the president of the United States simply because they were born on a particular piece of dirt?
Hey, I'm not.
Actually, no. That's where the requirement for their parents to be U.S. citizens, even if the parents are naturalized.
I've met U.S. citizens. They're not that great.
Child.
I mean, it's a nation of people that not that great. I'm sorry. I would like to be able to pick from a wider array of, and clearly the American voting public feels the same way. They voted for a guy whose parents weren't both citizens in the form of Obama. They voted for McCain. They voted for Cruz. They keep voting for this.
Dual loyalty is what the Founding Fathers were concerned about, is that somebody who has ties to another country may do some things that were not in the benefit of the Americans.
Do you think that Ted Cruz is going to side with the Canadians over America?
I think Ted Cruz is going to do what's good for Ted Cruz, no matter what.
Here. But so is every other American that's running.
I think you're right.
Thanks for the call,
Well,
Steve.
that's why they're politicians.
Indeed, that's true. It doesn't make the difference. I don't know. I guess, to me, this quibbling about this whole thing has never... I get the legality of it. It's certainly a legal issue. That is part of the Constitution of the United States of America. And while you've got the rules to the game, you should follow the rules to the game. I'd point out that the federal government has no interest in the rules of the game when it says shall not be infringed as far as, the right to keep and bear arms, the right to freedom of speech, the right to freedom of religion, the separation of church and state, the right to redress of grievances. You have the right in the First Amendment of the United States Constitution to have your grievances redressed by the federal government. They don't do that anymore. They stopped doing that around the issue of abolition of slavery, and they never picked it back up.
They're too busy violating the rest of our rights to get around to that.
It's too big. When you look at the is it the 17th Amendment that allocates that changed the allocation of the House of Representatives and stopped it at 434, 35 drunken sailors, whatever it is. The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE Talk Live. I don't think we're going to get a better president or a worse president because they might have been born in Canada or Panama or Kenya, for that matter. 855-450-3733, Free Talk Live.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you? Or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom. And with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, March 26th, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.20 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,217 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $424. Antiwar.com reports while there have been rumblings since December about Britain sending ground troops into Libya, the Cameron government has repeatedly denied any deployments and indeed insists there was no planning to do so. A newly leaked memo shows those denials were a lie and that Britain has had SAS special forces operating on the ground in Libya since at least early January when Jordan's King Abdullah briefed U.S. congressmen on the matter. King Abdullah told them that UK special forces had needed help from the Jordanian military in translating certain aspects of Libyan Arabic, noting that Jordanian slang is very similar to the Libyan variety. He said Jordanian troops would embed with the SAS forces. British officials refused to comment on the leak, though U.S. Senate officials confirmed the meeting that served the underpinning for the memo. They did, however, refuse to confirm the content as the memo was supposed to be secret. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports former Corinthian College's students left with education loans after the private college chain abruptly shut its doors last year can have their loans forgiven, according to the U.S. Department of Education. On Friday, the U.S. Department of Education said former students from 2010 to 2014 at 91 Everest and Wyotech college campuses in 20 states have a clear path to loan forgiveness under evidence discovered by the department while working with the multiple state attorneys general. Former students must apply through the Department of Education. An estimated 350,000 students took out student loans to finance an education through one of the Corinthian colleges. Joseph A. Smith, the department's special master for borrowers' defense claims, said the department has already approved loan discharges for more than 8,800 former Corinthian students nationwide, totaling more than $130 million. The news from the department comes just days after a California State Superior Court judge issued a $1.1 billion judgment against the college chain. It's unlikely, however, that students will see any money from the school. The school shut its doors in April 2015 and filed bankruptcy a month later. In addition to leaving students in the lurch, officials said the school misrepresented its job placement rates and its affiliation with the U.S. military. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and Numery supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports a federal judge on Friday struck down an Alabama law that required abortion providers to have admitting privileges at local hospitals. The ruling comes amid a wave of new abortion laws in states where conservatives are aiming to chip away at the U.S. Supreme Court's landmark 1973 Roe v. Wade decision that legalized abortion nationwide. U.S. District Judge Myron Thompson in Alabama issued the 53-page ruling, saying the provisions in the state's so-called Women's Health and Safety Act would effectively close the abortion clinics in Alabama's three largest cities, Montgomery, Mobile, and Birmingham. Thompson wrote the staff privileges requirement would make it impossible for a woman to obtain an abortion in much of the state. It is certain that thousands of women per year, approximately 40% of those seeking abortions in the state, would be unduly burdened. Representatives for the Alabama Attorney General's office could not be immediately reached for comment on Friday. Susan Watson, executive director of the American Civil Liberties Union of Alabama, applauded the order. She said in an interview, "This ruling protects Alabama women and ensures access to a safe and legal abortion." She added that similar laws being pushed in other states appeared to be a concerted effort nationwide to scale back abortion rights. A comparable provision to Alabama's was part of a law signed in Florida by Republican Governor Rick Scott on Friday, and the U.S. Supreme Court is considering a challenge to an abortion law in Texas, where several clinics have closed due to new restrictions. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
If you're the parent of a man-child, you know how frustrating it can sometimes be. The piercing sound of his video games waking you up at 2 in the morning. His insatiable hunger and inability to cook anything for himself. The messes he makes. the stress can be overwhelming.
Something will set them off, such as their man-child will tell them that they don't know how to tie a tie even though they're almost 30. They'll start shaking them and yelling and saying, "What the hell is wrong with you? Why don't you get a real job instead of working part-time at a board game store?"
The results of shaken man-child syndrome are devastating. Trauma caused by the brain colliding with the inside of the man-child's skull can lead to cognitive disabilities, making it even more unlikely he'll finally marry the girl he's been having a long-distance online relationship with for 6 years, or it can even lead to death.
He's not spilling cereal all over the couch or leaving his beard clippings in the bathroom sink intentionally. He truly does not know what he's doing.
For the Lab Report, I'm Stuart Adams.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. It's the live weekend edition of Free Talk Live with Mark
and Chris.
The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. We've been talking about the presidential election. What else? You're welcome to call in and talk about whatever's on your mind. And we've certainly, run in some different directions, talking about naturalization of citizens and a variety of topics regarding the mudslinging that's gone on and all this stuff. But I still like to hear that that person that spent the time parsing through all these delegate votes and these sorts of things, trying to figure out who's going to win, who's going to lose. It looks like Trump is the only one who can realistically put together 1237 on the Republican side.
On the Democratic side, it's much closer.
It's much closer for the Democrats.
Yeah, and if the superdelegates go whichever way the political wind blows on the Democrat side, it's Bernie still has a shot.
Let's go to Juanita calling in from Olympia, Washington. Juanita, you're on Free Talk Live.
Oh, really?
Juanita?
Yeah.
What's on your mind?
Here. Ted Cruz. He is a naturalized citizen, not a natural born. I have 5 generations in my family. My mother was the first, I'm the second, and my kids and theirs. Anyhow, natural citizen is somebody that was born here on this land in America, not in Canada. My one aunt, when she was about 18 or 19 years old, went back up to Canada to live with her grandmother. She met a young man, she married him, and they had 3 children. They are all Canadian, and they are alien to me. I'm an alien to them. If I want to go see them, I have to get a passport to go to Canada, and they're here.
So a friend of mine, this was the situation too, and he had dual citizenship up to the point that he was 18, and then he had to make a decision at that time which one he wanted to be.
But it says in the Constitution they have to be born on American land.
Well, they have to be natural born.
Why do the Mexican women come over here so their children can be born here as American citizens?
So
that's a question there.
Well, the reason they do it is I would assume that so that they have a more difficult time being kicked out of the country. I mean,
well, I had a buddy when I was a teenager, and he was Mexican. We were buddies. We used to ride on bikes all around Pontiac, Michigan, and sing songs. And it was great. I don't know if he was a Mexican natural or naturalized, but he was there. And maybe Ted's okay, but I don't like his politics or anything else. I don't care who runs, who beats it. I've been a Democrat all my life, and I don't know who I'm going to vote for. But I don't like somebody saying they are an American-born citizen, which he's not. He doesn't deserve to be a president. And I don't like all the stuff that goes on anyhow. I'm a rabble-rouser. I'm going to be 89 in July. And as far as politicians and everything, they shouldn't be in there longer than 2 to 4 years, not 4, 6, or a lifetime.
I agree with you there.
I'm all for the term limits. There's no doubt about that. You've got till May the 24th to figure out who you're going to vote for. Are you leaning one way or the other?
I think I'll put my name on the list.
Thanks for the call, Juanita. Appreciate it. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Let's go to Dave calling in from New Hampshire. Dave, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, gentlemen. Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Mike Gill arrest in New Hampshire. Have you heard much about this?
A little bit. He's the guy with the signs. Is that correct?
Yeah, he's some guy that is like ferreting out corruption or something.
Well, he runs a radio show that airs locally in New Hampshire called State of Corruption. And he was arrested in court, I guess, because he had some sort of an outburst about corruption. He was in a I guess some sort of a dispute related to his wife, like a marital case or something like that. And so during the court, I guess he was held in contempt. And I don't know if he's still in jail or not, but I bet he is. And what's interesting here is that I didn't know this at first, and this isn't getting much attention, but apparently he's being assisted by a Free Stater. I'm not sure. Aaron Day is a Free Stater, right?
I guess. I don't know.
I
don't have access to the Free State Project's statement of intent list. I have no idea.
Yeah,
I think so.
Didn't he run for school board or something in Bedford, and it was a big brouhaha because the Bedford government didn't want Free Staters on the school board?
Yeah, I believe that did occur. Yep.
Yeah.
So
I think
how does this affect a national audience? This guy being incarcerated for the whole thing to do with his what is it? Contempt of court.
Yeah, maybe I'm not as good at articulating this as I should be, but I think I have this general sense that things that happen in New Hampshire are of interest to liberty persons all over the country, and not necessarily to average people, but this is our capital, right, in a sense, and so anything that happens here is national news for liberty folks. And the way that an individual is handled and helped by Free Staters is important, and to me, it's inspirational. You know, it was neat to see that they went to the court hearing and made sure that he documented what happened there. He tried to film. I think he was partly banned from filming, or they attempted to stop him from filming, and he was able to report to the mainstream press what had happened. I don't know if very many people would have been talking about this if they hadn't been there to document what had happened.
Yeah, I'm reading from the Union Leaders website. Quote, "The judge said we couldn't record the hearing," unquote, said Day. "Gill has been recording these hearings for years. That got shot down. Then he was trying to submit text messages of threats to his children, and the judge would not accept those. Gill basically viewed it as a sham hearing," unquote.
It sounds like it. Dave, I do appreciate the call. Sorry. Let's go to the another Dave calling from New Hampshire. Dave, you're on Free Talk Live. Dave.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Yep. What's on your mind, Dave?
I was going to say something about it's funny that that other Dave should call in because he mentioned a guy named Aaron Day who is a Free Stater, and he's actually on board.
Sounds like the call's breaking up, Dave. Terribly sorry. It's breaking up.
That happened with that.
That's exciting stuff. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. We have exhausted the calls on naturalized citizens and presidential stuff and all those sorts of things. So I wanted to talk about, I just wanted to bring up something that happened to me today. My son, Jack, he's 8 years old, and he wanted to stay home today to watch over a bird that we are bird sitting for somebody. He wanted to make sure the bird was safe and felt comfortable and all that stuff. And so he asked me if he could stay home by himself. And he'd never asked this before, and I'd never really considered when kids can stay home by themselves. But
right, what's the magic age?
I felt like he could. I was just scared because, whoa. If you leave a kid home too young, then that's really bad news. So I looked it up online.
And it turns out I've got this family.findlaw.com, and there's only 2 states in the union that have a law on this. And one is Illinois. At the age of 14, you can't leave a 13-year-old at home in the state of Illinois, apparently. This is not legal advice. This is simply me reading a website.
I think it's good parenting advice. Don't leave a 13-year-old at home.
Well, I got left at home a lot as a kid, and things were fine. I'm 45. It's not like I'm not the most elderly of people. Back in the day, we had to take the plow while the parents were away. That wasn't happening. But Maryland is the legal age is 8, and then they've got some guidelines. And I just kind of wonder, what do people think about what ages kids should be left home alone? The number is 855-450-3733. 855-450-FREE. Because parents don't get a guidebook.
Imagine your life 5 years from now. Are you on the path you want to be on? It's time to take control of your future by getting a world-class education from one of the nation's top universities. Arizona State University is now offering over 100 top-tier degree programs 100% online. It's the exact same degree our on-campus students receive, but you can learn from anywhere in the country on your own schedule. For information, call 1-800-939-9426. Learn from ASU's world-renowned faculty and use ASU's global recognition to improve your visibility, professional network, and gain real-world experience you can start using today. The Wall Street Journal ranked ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates. Now discover how ASU Online can stand out on your resume and help separate you from the competition. We're ready to help you learn to thrive in your life, in your career, and beyond. To learn more about ASU online degrees, call 1-800-939-9426. That's 1-800-939-9426.
Hey everyone, with 20 plus years as a radio host, I've seen about everything. One thing that keeps recurring, though, are these timeshare charlatans. These high-pressure salespeople who get folks to come out to some resort for a special weekend offer. Then they get them in a corner and browbeat them and coerce them into buying a timeshare they don't need, they don't want, and they can't afford. And then they're stuck with that thing forever. Monthly payments, mortgage payments, annual fees, they keep going up and up. Well, up until recently, people thought they couldn't get rid of these things. You can't get out of the contract, you can't get out of the deed or the membership. Well, that's not true. My friends at American Consumer Credit, a timeshare release company, can get you free. That's their personal guarantee. 12 years in business, free consultation, A-plus rating with the BBB, they're the real deal. You want to get out of your timeshare contract? Call them now. 800-587-EXIT. That's 800-587-3948. 800-587-EXIT. Call now, 800-587-3948.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
If you want to play online poker with Bitcoin, you need a site that's trustworthy and technically sound. The site managers of swcpoker.eu have proven their commitment to bringing you great gameplay from a site you can trust, swcpoker.eu. They have lots of new games too, including Chinese poker, and their Krill leaderboard is open right now. It's a beautiful site, easy to use with lots of players. Go on over to swcpoker.eu now and have some fun with your Bitcoin. swcpoker.eu.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
It's the live weekend edition of Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
And Chris.
The number is 855-450-3733. We've been talking about sort of the presidential primaries and those sorts of things, but I did ask a question that sort of struck home here this for me today. My son wanted to stay home. He's 8 years old. He wanted to keep an eye on a bird while we went and did some stuff, and I sort of looked it up online, and I guess 8-year-olds old might be old enough to leave somebody home. What do you think?
According to the state. And the state says it's okay.
I can't remember anything about sort of a timeline of when I was allowed to do anything. I remember I had a gun. I don't know when I got it. I remember I stayed home alone. I don't remember the first time.
Right.
I don't remember any of this stuff as far as I didn't keep a diary or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so I just don't know when you do this stuff. And I think that, and of course, everybody gives you the evasive answer. Well, it's different for each kid. But as a parent of one kid, I don't know if it's right for this kid. And I think that many parents err on the side of safety, which is to say the wrong side, because if you're going to teach a child to be bold, to be self-assured, to be all of these things, you need to give them license over their own lives. And I found it to be a difficult parenting moment.
And I don't remember the specific time, but I do remember the idea of being allowed to stay home by myself while my parents weren't there as a big thing. You know,
and what's your age compared to mine? I'm 45.
52.
Okay.
But it was one of those things that it wasn't something I think I looked forward to, but it was one of those things when it happened, it was like, I'm the man of the house.
Yeah.
You know, I am responsible enough. I can show them that I can take care of myself, and I think that's a big thing.
I told my son the same thing about being the man of the house, and I've given him that, and it kind of works with boys. I don't know how you deal with girls. I don't have to. It's not my job. Anyway, I want to tell you, if you're doing your online shopping, I'm asking you, please do your online shopping through shop.freetalklive.com, and when you do that, but it's one extra click. You just go to shop.freetalklive.com. You can do Amazon and Walmart and a variety of other online retailers there at shop.freetalklive.com. It gives us, in some cases, up to 7% of the purchase for you doing nothing else. You get the same prices, the same service. It's shop.freetalklive.com. If you like what we do, it helps to sort of distribute the risk of doing a radio program. shop.freetalklive.com. Let's go to Bruce calling in from Albuquerque. Bruce, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Hey, man. What's up?
Hey, Bruce.
I heard you guys you're running a little bit of problems. Yeah, so anyways, a lot of times when I work with people, they go, if you have a kid, I'll eat your human flesh.
What's this?
To make sure that I survive.
What's this about kids and eating human flesh?
No, because people are very aggressive after they have a kid.
Okay.
And they'll do anything for the survival of the species.
Yeah, they get protective.
They do indeed.
I get protective. I know the feeling. Thanks for the call, Bruce. Appreciate it. 855-450-3733. Let's go to Will calling in from Tennessee. Will, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, Will.
So I had this bill that was just tabled a few days ago here in the Tennessee House, and I thought the story would be kind of interesting to you guys because of how it went down. It's called the Tennessee Student Free Speech Protection Act.
All right. Sounds like a really great thing. You want kids to have free speech, right? Except that if they start speaking in the middle of class, then they may be disruptive. That gets a little confusing.
Well, a Republican from Knoxville presented the bill, and during the debate on the floor, a Democrat from Memphis asked the question, and it originally came to my mind because of the way statists love to go to the absurd for their arguments. Would you be okay with ISIS recruiting on the University of Tennessee campus? Right. Because the bill is supposed to get rid of free speech zones, as well as some local colleges have rules where you have to give like 5 days advance notice and get approval in order to hand out literature or to table at the campus, that sort of thing. So they're trying to get rid of that. And the Democrat literally invoked the specter of ISIS
because they didn't want free speech
to defeat his free speech bill. His quote, first he asked the question, well, would you be okay with ISIS recruiting on campuses? Do you really want free speech like that? And then he follows that up with, quote, there are young people who are not ready yet. They're half-baked, half-cooked, who are recruited
on college campuses?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not arguing with that point, but...
Well, hold on. If they are half-baked and uncooked, it's because they went through 13 years of government school.
That's what I'm saying.
But so the government says that they're not prepared to have an opinion because we have, over the course of 13 years, failed to show them how to critically think, apparently.
Oh, not failed. We've reverted anything that they may have learned on their own.
About ISIS being able to recruit, look, ISIS is certainly not an organization I'm going to support, but if ISIS can recruit on a college campus, if they're successful in recruiting, they're probably going to recruit people to do illegal things, and they would, in all likelihood, the only people they would be recruiting would be undercover federal police.
Right.
I guess I am comfortable with ISIS attempting to recruit on college campuses.
So, Will, can you tell us, is the bill from a liberty point of view at all decent? Because when I see any bill title...
is to get rid of free speech zones and the restrictions on free speech on campus. The Democrats' argument was, quote, free speech is one thing, being stupid is another. The rebuttal from the Republican side was, quote, our schools are tending towards shielding students away from objectionable speech.
Right. So, trigger words.
That's the whole
anything else.
They have safe spaces. There's this situation, I can't remember, Emory University is going on the hunt for the student who wrote in chalk Trump 2016.
Oh, yeah.
In the safe space.
Yep.
Now, it's been a while since I've been in college. We didn't have safe spaces when I was in college, and if we did have safe spaces, I would have jeered and mocked anyone who ever walked into one.
Right.
Who maybe didn't have. I suppose that if there's some kind of like a family member's been murdered or something. But I just the idea of using valuable real estate for a safe space for a college student just doesn't make any sense to me. But apparently they can't. You can't write Trump 2016. That's a terrible thing.
That
to do.
is triggering.
I wonder if they would have written Bernie Sanders, if that would have been okay.
Probably would have been fine. The reason I ask, Will, is because usually when I see any bill title, it usually what's in the bill is the opposite of what it says. So if it says Student Free Speech Protection Act,
pretty close to what it says. The idea is to get rid of free speech zones, to get rid of restrictions that require students to submit in writing days, even weeks in advance to gain permission from the school in order for a demonstration or to table. You even have some schools in the state of Tennessee, like TSU, that don't allow any demonstration of any kind on campus property.
They should. College students, if they don't learn how to speak where they are, they're never going to learn to speak. Will, thanks for the call.
Thanks.
The number is 855-450-3733. For your college students to...
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS? Get on board with the Tax Admiral. Don't pick on the IRS alone. I'll cut penalties and reduce your overall tax bill. Sometimes I can even get it zeroed out completely. We're an A-rated company helping people clean up their mess with the IRS. If you owe $10,000 or more, then call the Tax Admiral.
Call 800-287-7180. Again, that's 800-287-7180.
800-287-7180.
I'm Ian Freeman, host of Free Talk Live. We've been covering Uber for years on the radio with their ongoing legal cases across the globe defending your right to give people rides without asking government permission. I wanted to support Uber more directly, so I signed up to be a driver. It's fun to meet new people and help Uber push forward innovation. As of this recording, Uber is active in 67 countries, so there's a good chance they're available in your area. If you'd like to drive for Uber and make some money helping people get where they want to go, sign up at drive.freetalklive.com, and you'll get a $100 bonus after you complete a certain number of trips. With Uber, you can drive anytime you want. You set your schedule. To get started, you need a good driving record, 4-door vehicle, insurance, registration, and to pass a background check. It costs nothing to sign up, so visit drive.freetalklive.com. That's drive.freetalklive.com. And if you just want to try Uber as a rider, visit ride.freetalklive.com. Your first ride's free.
Cryptocurrency and peer-to-peer tech developments happen fast. Stay in the loop with the Daily Decrypt, a new video channel and podcast that will keep you on top of the latest innovations in crypto finance, security, networking, transportation, and gadgetry like drones and 3D printers. Subscribe to the Daily Decrypt on YouTube and SoundCloud and be an early adopter of the future. The Daily Decrypt.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website, fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper, FPP News, at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, the live weekend edition of the show, and you are welcome to call in and participate. We've been talking about the presidential election. I even asked a question on how old do you think a kid should be when they decide to, to be able to decide to stay home alone. And I think that there's different varying degrees of staying home. But, the number's 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE, and that's free as in freedom. And I want to tell you about how to use the internet a little more anonymously. The internet was meant to be used anonymously, and if you want to, without government oversight or corporate oversight. Many governments and companies are thriving off of the lack of privacy that you have on the internet today. It's a lot more like sending a postcard than it is like sending a security envelope, I can tell you that. Right. ProXPN can give you that privacy back. ProXPN is a virtual private network that encrypts your data right from your computer or mobile device. They offer OpenVPN, which is the gold standard of network encryption, with apps for Windows, Mac, iOS, Android. There's Linux support too, and unlike other VPNs, ProXPN keeps no logs of your activities whatsoever. With more servers being added all the time, ProXPN works hard to give you greater speed and security compared to other VPNs. If you're a Windows user, or you can ask ProXPN about changing your DNS settings for even greater anonymity. They accept credit card and even Bitcoin. And if you use the code FTL, you can get 50% off. 50% off the regular monthly price for the lifetime of an annual account. That can end up being cheaper per month than a good cup of coffee. Use the internet the way it was meant to be used. Go to proxpn.com now. Use the code FTL50 and take back the privacy that is your right. proxpn.com, coupon code FTL50. One way to have some privacy, Chris, is to have a prepaid cell phone. A lot of people, they don't want folks to know. They don't want to be linked to the phone. And,
right.
I got to say, I have a phone through Walmart that I could have been private on, but I just don't want to go and re-up the cards and do all those things with the points and the minutes and all that stuff. I'm just not interested in that. So I just give them my credit card, and they ding it every month.
Right.
Now, I like Straight Talk. It's cheap, but they don't have as many towers as others. But it works fine for me.
And for some people, it's an economic issue. Some people, because if you go to Sprint or you go to AT&T, you have to pass a credit check and things like that, and they're unable to do so. Or their income, they may be on very, very low income, and they haven't got their Obama phone. So being able to pay when they need it is good. On another end of it is kind of the elderly. So my girlfriend's mother uses a prepaid phone because she uses next to no minutes, and she can't find like a $5 plan anywhere. Well, that gives her a phone. She can keep very little balance on that, but she can use it if she needs it.
Right, and it's, in case the car gets a flat or something like that. It's really important to have that. I think that a lot of people choose to have a cell phone for that one reason, and it can be really, really important. Obviously, you're going to want a hands-free device if you're traveling down the road at speed, but if you're stopped, you can call and say, hey, things aren't going the way that I'd hoped.
Hello, AAA.
Yeah. Well, AAA is good, or a close family member who can then call AAA for you. I've noticed that the women in my life tend to do that.
Really? Can you call AAA for me?
No, they don't ask you to call AAA. It's like there's something wrong with the car. What do you want me to do? Carry it on my back? But as the case may be, that's how my life goes. And AAA, invaluable for us. It used to be when I had a key for a car that I would sometimes use up the amount of times you're allowed to call AAA because I'd lock a key in a car way too often. Now, I haven't done that recently, but whatever. So go on. Apparently, they're trying to stop this from AndroidAuthority.com.
Yeah, the story starts. The bill is called the Prepaid Mobile Device Security Gap Act of 2016, and if it passes, anyone who purchases a prepaid cell phone will be forced to register their identity with their device. The proposed law is being pushed forward by Jackie Spear, a Democrat representative from California.
Now, I wonder whether this would entirely kill the prepaid phone industry or whether there would be enough people that would still want them even if you had to give your ID. Because they're not proposing to actually do away with them. They're just proposing to add a sort of layer of, security for the government. I say security. The government using this
security theater.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying. And I don't think it would kill the industry because most of that industry is actually the cell phone companies. They're the ones that push and sell most of the prepaid phones that are out there. AT&T Go phones or things like that.
I'm just thinking about TracFone, but I don't know everything about this industry. I certainly don't.
But even there, all of them, they have relationships with the major phone manufacturers.
Yeah, sure.
So I would imagine that they will probably be opposed to anything that could reduce the number of potential phone users by one.
I've got friends who are, the reason they use these kind of phones is basically security-based. They just don't want people to know, where they are, what calls they're making, these kind of things. They're not doing anything illegal.
It's not really security. It sounds like they're using it for privacy.
Privacy, yeah.
And that there's a big difference, at least as far as the federal government's going to be concerned.
All right.
But I think that's it. And ever since the TV show The Wire came out, the word burner, entered
a burner phone. Yeah, that makes it sound so much worse.
Exactly. But that's what everybody associates a prepaid phone with is immediately if you're doing it, then you are selling heroin off the block in Baltimore. That's the only reason you could possibly want a burner phone. And it's quite
I've never
simply
even considered selling heroin off the block in Baltimore.
Well, I'm full of career ideas, so
that sounds like a bad choice.
Probably not the best advice I've given. But that's the whole thing, and this is just another case of, to me, trying to get more involved in people's lives under the quote unquote, umbrella of security, and they bring up criminals and they bring up terrorists. Just like they always brings up terrorists and criminals.
Every time. That's what they do. Is they always go back to that same tried and true, criminals are going to use this and that kind of thing. And,
right.
We have the most incarcerated people in the world. It seems like police are doing a pretty good job of getting criminals.
Let's enact some more laws to add another, million or 2 million potential criminals so we can lock those up too.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to. This law wouldn't get anybody else locked up. This would be just a get around.
What if you were caught with unregistered cell phone, Mark?
I don't know. Maybe that would get you.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like you're going to lock anybody up over this one, but I do see your point. It just seems like, do we need to do this more? Do we need more of this? The government already has a whole bunch of people locked up, significantly more than the rest of the world. It seems to me that people in Europe are probably able to have prepaid phones that have some level of privacy. How come it's such a big problem here? I don't know.
Well, the problem here is our government for the last couple decades has been so focused on knowing everything that's going on,
right.
And this is
that's what it seems like to me. This is just capturing more information.
Right, it absolutely is. And while they're doing this, they're also pressuring manufacturers to install backdoors. So they can, regardless of what network that phone may be on, we have access to it, but we'll only use that access if we need it. You've got that, and then you've got the federal government going after applications like WhatsApp, because
WhatsApp, yeah.
WhatsApp. Because it does provide a level of encryption, and I'm sure they're gonna go after every other one of these too. But
there's encrypted SMS, encrypted text messaging services, and these kind of things, and it just seems like the government doesn't like all of this stuff because basically they want to collect all the information.
Right.
The only time it was really a problem was when when other governments around the world found out that the United States government was going after their politicians.
Sorry, President Merkel.
Yeah, that's all that. The only time it seemed to matter. By the way, there were illegal things revealed. No one went to jail. No politicians went to jail for that one.
Well, I'm sure they will soon.
Yeah, I'm sure. The number 855-450-3733. It's 855-450 Free Talk Live.
Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com.
There comes a time when you need custom embroidered or screen printed apparel for your business, organization, or a special event. Corporate Casuals has been helping people create great looking logoed apparel for over 25 years. They can produce a single piece or thousands using name brand apparel like Nike, Patagonia, Adidas, and Hanes. Create your logo in their online embroidery design studio or upload your existing logo and they'll turn it into embroidery. Go to corporatecasuals.com/FTL and include FTL in the order notes and save 5% on your order.
It's no secret that pathogens such as bacteria, viruses, molds, and fungus can inflict severe damage in the human body. Fortunately, a new and vastly improved silver solution has been developed. Supernatural Silver is a revolutionary broad-spectrum antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal solution that can be used inside the body as well as on the skin. Supernatural Silver is unique and superior to colloidal and ionic silvers, using a patented technology that that is highly effective against colds, flus, infections, food poisoning, and yeast, in addition to many other pathogens. Supernatural Silver is scientifically supported, extremely safe, and is the #1 choice of thousands of people for immune system support. Find out how Supernatural Silver could change your life. Go to supernaturalsilver.com and use the promo code HEALTHY for 20% off. That's supernaturalsilver.com. And like us on Facebook.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
This is your Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Thursday, gold is $2 lower at $1,222 per ounce. Silver is even at $15.36 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $416 US. Both silver and gold are significantly lower after yesterday's sharp drop. This would be a great time to take advantage of buying on the dips. Give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309.
It's Free Talk Live, the live weekend edition. Still got room for you. The number is 855-450-3733. It's the final segment with Mark.
And Chris.
855-450-FREE. And, well, you can call in and talk about whatever's on your mind. We've been talking about the presidential stuff. And this situation where apparently there's a bill in that may destroy the idea of these privacy from a prepaid phone. They call them burner phones, I think, is what Hollywood's been calling them. And it's certainly an interesting, fun name. But, I mean, the idea that somebody wants to have a phone that isn't registered in a name doesn't sound like the most radical notion in the land of the free to me.
It sounds like having an unlisted number. And for years, that was what you did for privacy.
Well, you can have an unlisted number, but the phone company still knows who you are.
Absolutely. But back in the day, and I'm going back, say 25, 30 years, what could you actually do with your phone to make it more private?
Unlisted
you
number.
would get an unlisted number, and that was your big step.
Yep. So if you want to support Free Talk Live, which is probably the most clarion voice for the ideas of liberty on network radio, certainly the largest of people who support the idea of freedom, if you want to support us, the best way to do it is go to the AMP program at amp.freetalklive.com. It's amp.freetalklive.com. And for $5 a month, we give you some perks. You can be a part of our, AMP group on Facebook. We've got special AMP phone-in lines, those kind of things. It's amp.freetalklive.com. Let's go to James calling in from Arizona. James, you're on Free Talk Live.
Chris, as much as I despise Bill and Hillary Clinton,
It's funny, I haven't forgotten about Vince Foster and the conspiracy theory spun by some big fat pig named Rush Limbaugh on his radio station. And I quit listening to him cold turkey forever. But I'm betting that you, Chris, being the anti-statist whose mind is obviously devolved because of the people you hang out with, I wouldn't be surprised if you think, to quote Ian Bernard, that loose change is persuasive.
Do you have an opinion on this, Chris?
No opinion.
Thanks for the call,
that.
James. Do you? I think what he's asking you is have you seen the video Loose Change?
No, I have not.
Okay, this is a video about the 9/11 conspiracies.
So he pegs me as a conspiracy
Are you
theorist.
a 9/11 truther?
A truther? No, I think there's some unanswered questions there. I really would like to know more about Building 7, but I also was watching TV when I saw planes. So I'm not on one side of that debate or the other, but I don't think I think it's un-American to accept what we're being told without questioning it.
I would agree. I think it's anti-human. It's unwise to just. But at the same time, I don't think that there's any stories out there that are without holes.
Right.
You know, that whole thing. So, you know, I watched part of Loose Change. I don't think I watched the whole thing. It's been years since that thing came out, and you know, to me, the 9/11 conspiracies don't really affect day-to-day life for me. The politicians continue to do the things that the politicians are going to do. If you know, I mean, I think we found out years and years later, you know, about the JFK assassination that had something to do with somebody in the government. I'm not entirely sure. I can't really remember, and because it's not relevant, because it doesn't matter.
Right.
If you find out that, say, JFK was involved in the assassination of, that LBJ is involved in the assassination of JFK. So what? They're both dead.
Well, the crazy thing is, and this is how short-term our memory is. It's a good example of JFK because we had congressional hearings in the late 70s. They went and looked at JFK and Robert Kennedy's assassinations, and I think maybe Martin Luther King's. And they came to the conclusion, our government did, that there was most likely a conspiracy involved in the assassination of JFK. That wasn't Rush Limbaugh. That wasn't 9/11 Truther saying it. That was a congressional committee that was put together to look at it. So I think what 9/11 represents more for me is it was an opportunity to advance a neocon agenda where, okay, this kind of takes the gloves off, and now we can
you
can
wouldn't
nation
have attacked
build.
Iraq without 9/11. There wouldn't have been an Iraqi attack without 9/11.
Not as soon. I still think no. I think because the first Bush got, pretty much they had a not a fatwa, or they were going to kill GW's dad, and I don't think George ever let go of that.
Well, whether he let go of it or not, it's I don't know whether the American people would have been on board for it. I can remember back then I would have probably been ready to invade Canada if they had put some kind of harebrained plan that said, oh yeah, it turns out Canada's the one who blew up the 9/11 towers. That's how angry and how on edge everybody was.
The whole country.
I'm obviously exaggerating here, but it's, people were on edge. The reason that they went into Afghanistan was because the Afghan government at the time, run by the Taliban, basically said, hey, why don't you provide us with some information about what this Osama bin Laden guy is supposed to have done?
Yeah.
And that wasn't acceptable to the United States government. No, give him up or we kill you. And they did.
Yeah. And there have been lots of cases where we've gone into lots of countries and done sorts of, we being the United States, and I'm not including myself with the government, but we've done all sorts of unsavory things over the years, and it doesn't take much of an excuse. You're right. The American people might not have got all behind a war against Iraq if we had not had like a 9/11, but it certainly doesn't mean that we wouldn't have done something. And it might have been more surgical. It might have been on a smaller scale. Yeah. Well, I think the result would have been the same. We want to control the oil fields.
Well, I think the result would have been the same, that ISIS would have been created too. ISIS was, it didn't take a genius to figure it out that ISIS was created to some extent by the meddling in the Iraqi Iraqi people's government. Now, I'm not saying that Saddam Hussein was a good guy. I certainly don't think he was a good guy. But, well, this is what happens when you mess around. Let's go to Alfred calling in from Myrtle Beach. Alfred, you're on Free Talk Live.
If you're going to call your show that and call yourself a minister, you should act like one, Mark Edgington. Do you have...
The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Excuse me, I had to dump that. When it comes to U.S. foreign policy, it's, and the 9/11 and all that stuff, I get that they're all linked, but I'm not prepared to say that, the George W. Bush administration perpetrated 9/11 so that we could go into the Middle East and bomb the heck out of folks. I know some people want to say that. I don't know. To me, it requires facts. I've heard politicians say we never are going to let a good crisis go to waste. That's something entirely different than let's create a crisis.
Rahm Emanuel. But I think it would have been anything. You can look for anything, any opportunity, any excuse, and then they're going to go do it. But I think what's interesting about the formation of ISIS is ISIS isn't one of those things that people need to go to conspiracy websites to find out about and to find the evidence of all this. All they have to do is...
There's plenty of conspiracy behind ISIS. I mean, I've seen these guys praying in two different directions.
Oh, I get that. But to find out the story of how ISIS was created, just read a newspaper. It's all there.
It's true. Let's go to Marie calling in from Mississippi. Marie, you're on Free Talk Live. You got about a minute.
Yes, I worship Trump. No, I'll tell you what.
You work for Trump? You work for him?
I worship him.
You worship him, all right.
Yes, because I think he's the most honest thing going. Ted Cruz reminds me of someone in a polyester suit in a tent preaching. I think that's what his daddy did. But Donald Trump will at least build a fence.
What about Kasich? What about Kasich?
Oh, I could care less. I mean, he's too late. Might as well just go home in the hush. Might have been good had he gotten in earlier. I don't even know him. But at least we know, really can't believe anything a politician normally says.
Yeah.
But at least we know Donald Trump knows how to make money.
Okay.
And he even tried to gift United States people with a banquet room for the White House out of his own pocket because Hussein Obama was entertaining dignitaries in tents, so out on the lawn. So, and to me, Cruz is sleazy. I cannot stand his voice. And his wife is depressed, no doubt. But, I understand why.
Do you think that the Republican establishment is going to, even if Trump gets the 1237, do you think that they'll let him get through the nomination process? I mean, they do get to finally pick, right?
I don't think they will. And I think that's a damn shame because I heard one of them say we have certain morals. Morals? Look at Hillary Clinton. We're talking about morals?
Well, she's probably not in the Republican Party. Marie, thank you so much for the call. I do appreciate it. Check us out, freetalklive.com, and on Facebook, facebook.freetalklive.com. Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, the